Pirates avoided a 3-game sweep by beating the Red Sox last night 5-1 at Fenway Park. Brett Beatty drove in 3 runs for the winners, and that includes a tie-breaking 2-run single in the top of the 7th inning. The forever 500 Sox are now a game under that mark. They'll continue their homestand against Baltimore tonight. For all the Celtic fans that are still upset about the way they lost their playoff series to the Knicks last week, allow me to present Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals last night. The Knicks led Indiana by 14 points with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left and lost to the Pacers on their own home floor, 138-135 in overtime. Tom Thibodeau is on the opposite end of this against the Celtics.
There's obviously disappointment when you fall short, but it doesn't. We have to take a look at the film, make our corrections, and then we got to change quickly for Game 2. We got to be ready for Game 2, and that's all you look at. So you have to take disappointment and turn that into more determination.
Tyrese Halliburton scored 31 points for the winners, and that includes the game-tying shot at the end of regulation. Also, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was voted the league MVP for the first time last night. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the balloting. In NFL news, Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died in his sleep yesterday afternoon. He was 65 years old. Also, the Green Bay Packers measure to ban the Philadelphia Eagles' tush push failed to pass yesterday. And at the NHL playoffs, Dallas beat Edmonton 6-3 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side. It's a separation. Yes. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT booting up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Unexpected this is.
Hi, Bill Belichick.
One little way in the woods. There's nothing familiar, not one damn tree.
Stay away from the blueberries. Don't go picking blueberries.
No.
No. Bring someone with you if you go pick blueberries.
Correct.
Billy boy. Feet first, Billy boy.
Somebody else. But we forget about that one.
Yeah, I do forget about it.
But somebody emailed me yesterday. Said, hey, feet first. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, feet first, Billy Belichick. Good old feet first. Idiot savant. He's lucky there's a game called football, and he's lucky his dad coached it because he's a moron. Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and it's a nor'easter outside where it will be 50 degrees and raining constantly. And if you're planning to go to the Red Sox today, tomorrow, or Saturday, don't go. I might go Sunday, which will be my first game.
You say 50 degrees. You know what the high temperature in Waltham is today?
What's that?
48.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it'll be raining real hard.
So
Yeah.
I had my son's last game for the season for his high school, and the high school had already won like the ISL. So these were like one game. His coach was nice. One game was a rescheduled non-league game because it rained every day, so they scheduled non-league games. So he rescheduled a non-league game. So the way that the ISL is set up is you have 2 league games and 1 non-league game a week. So you basically have 2 starting pitchers, and then in the non-league game, you use like another starter, and then Milo oftentimes would start that game. So there was like 10 seniors on this team. I believe there was 10. There might have been more. So then they have like a traditional game against Groton. I guess because both schools have been around since the 1500s. Maybe and literally I think since the 1600s. Those schools have been around 1700s rather. I think both of those schools have been around since the 1700s, so they play. It's not a very pressure-filled situation. Danny Roach came yesterday.
I saw the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny Roach came. I didn't tell him that it was going on. Apparently, when I was in the car driving there, I was talking to someone on the phone. Dan had texted a couple times and asked where the game was, but I didn't see. So I was at the game, and then Dan just sidled up to me, and he was like, "How you doing?" And everyone was thrilled to see Dan. People love Dan Roach.
Well, I mean, that's really nice. That's really nice for him to come to the game. He's going specifically to see you and to see Milo and to be there for a part of it, right?
I think he was there to see kids play baseball, but yes.
Do you think he would have gone if you weren't there and Milo wasn't there?
He probably wouldn't have gone to Groton. He might have ambled by somewhere closer.
Yeah, that's nice.
Still, that says a lot for him to get in his car. That was not a short drive for him. And it's what, 50 degrees outside?
No, it was very nice.
Oh, it was nice. Okay.
No, yeah, it was nice of him. I was very happy that he came. I thought it was very nice of Dan. I mean, I'm friends with Dan, so it's not like unheard of. I mean, I've spent time with Dan before, so like it's not it wasn't, what I'm trying to say was wasn't weird. Like when Dan was there, I wasn't like, oh my God, what's going on? I mean, I was like, oh, cool, Dan's here. Like, yay, thanks for showing up. And I introduced him to like the coach and like, you know, and the parents, and everyone was very excited to see Dan. Like they all, because you don't think of him that way because you know him, but you know what it is. When people are on TV, they have like a weird magnetism about them because people just, it's weird. Like when you see people on TV for years and years and years and years, and then you see them in real life, I think it's kind of weird for people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
John doesn't. He's looking at me like he's glad. He's just like completely dead-eyed.
It's a completely one-sided relationship with this person for people watch Dan Roach, maybe for their entire lives.
Yeah, and I think TV is a lot different than radio because your image is being put up there. Here's the difference between TV and radio. I think I can explain it. Is that in radio, people, and rightly so in a lot of ways, if you're doing a talk show, especially one like this, they know you, right? So they feel they know you. So I don't think it's as weird when someone sees someone they listen to on the radio every day because it's like almost seeing a friend.
Sure.
And I do believe that's the case. TV, it's more removed, and like Hardy said, it's a more one-sided thing.
Yeah,
you're watching someone present information, but it's their moving image. You're seeing them moving around. So even for me, like if you see an actor, it could be an actor you don't give a rat's ass about. In public, you're like, oh, well, like you're taken aback a little bit by it.
And like you said, if you've listened to someone on the radio, you probably know a little bit more about their lives, and there's a chance, maybe even a good chance, that you've had some interaction with them. I'm sure you've had a lot of these where someone comes up to you, it's like, wow, it's great to meet you. I actually phoned in once, or I emailed you once, and it might, spark something like, oh yeah, so you kind of know that person too,
right? Or
you can at least fake it for a moment. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when we did that. So you do have a shared thing. Whereas the TV people, it's like, no, you're just, on the box in their living room.
Right. Yeah. I think you're viewed as more of an equal of the person if you're on the radio.
Yes. Yeah.
Like again,
which we by no means are.
Of course not.
Okay, thank you.
There's the financial difference between us and the other people.
I would just say, in every aspect,
sure.
Don't think that we're somehow the same. Okay.
No.
But you go up to Wallach. Remember, he's a celebrity first and foremost, and is a person to be celebrated, okay? And then you can try and find some common ground.
In if you've done 20 hours of radio for any length of time, you've made mistakes. You've, people, lives are not perfect over the course of 20, 30 years. I don't care who you are. I mean, I don't care if you're those old DJs on BCN, like the famous DJs like Maddie and Laquadera. I mean, those guys had their crap that they got over. Like, people, no one has a life that's just linearly, unless you're like just I don't know. I don't even know if it's possible. People might not know about it, but there's rarely a life that goes 20, 30 years without anything good and bad happening.
No, the radio people are much more obviously flawed. You know about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but my point is that people were excited to see Dan. And Dan was very gracious, of course. And, a lot of people. But then again, people were very excited to see Adolfo. So what are you going to do? All I know is that it's certainly flattering and nice, but it also alerts me to how old I am because I've been doing. I don't feel like I live in Boston, like and Hardy doesn't either. Don't let him tell you he does. It doesn't because we didn't grow up here. We've spent time in other places as adults. Like even though I've lived in Boston just as long as I've lived anywhere else, it's tied with Detroit now. You don't always feel like completely connected, and then it's nice to, people are very nice.
Yeah.
So Dan did come out; it was very nice of him. But I took a picture of Dan and I, because digital goals and things of that nature. I forgot, but of course I forgot to connect the show. But that would have gotten us over the top. You sit there at your kid's game in the snow and try to figure out how to do all that. Or have the presence of mind to do that. But I had a friend from Atlanta text me and he's like, "Oh, it's your son's last baseball game. Nice winter jacket. What the hell's going on over there?" And I went, "Yes, this is not good. None of this is good. It was as cold. Now, it wasn't as cold as this weekend because I wore a winter jacket and gloves." Running gloves, but gloves nonetheless, not like big, thick winter gloves. But that game was as cold as the first game of the season. And the first game of the season was in early April. Or no, late March.
Yeah.
Or mid-March. Mid-March. It was as cold at the end of May as it was in mid-March. There you go. Congratulations, Massachusetts. Now everyone's excited we live here. It's never going to get light today. My dog is going to never be outside. He's going to take it out on me. And this is the life that we've chosen. This is where circumstances put us.
Can we once again blame the founding fathers?
Thank you, because I was thinking that same thing, and I wondered if I should go there. But yes, I do blame the founding fathers.
Everybody who sailed over here and said, "Well, we got 1,000 miles of coastline here, but since we landed here,
They didn't know any better. They didn't know they had 1,000 miles of coastline.
Well, you could just walk the coastline.
How about just walk until it gets warmer?"
Yeah, or sail the coastline. Like the minute it snows, sail the coastline. Are you so ignorant that you can cross an ocean?
They knew north from south, and they weren't complete morons.
Yeah, if they navigated the Atlantic Ocean, I'm thinking that they had some idea that it gets warmer the more south you go.
Yes.
Now, I think they, by happenstance, ended up here, certainly. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they went to Canada and realized,
That's right. Maybe they started in Canada and just came further south.
I have a point to make about that in a minute. But yes, if the founding fathers, then Florida would have been saved. Imagine if Florida, like Mississippi, Arkansas, and Alabama were nice, like good places with good people.
But didn't Columbus land in somewhere in the Caribbean?
Yes, he landed in the Caribbean and thought it was America. Yes.
Okay, so why wasn't the focus more down there?
It was. It was to get people down there working for free in the colonial United States, if you'll recall.
Well, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
not good, not great.
Yeah, that was the mission there.
But as other people started figuring out, hey, there's something over there, just go a little further north.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be strange because the South is geographically, it's on the water. Obviously, it's available by boat, which was very important to shipping. Now it's further from Europe, so I could understand that being a bit of an issue. But imagine if they did move people down there, and it was habitable. Like if you could live in Florida or because you can live in Georgia, but if you could live in Florida, Arkansas, and Alabama, especially Alabama and Florida, because Alabama, there's no reason Alabama shouldn't be nice. It's got a beautiful Gulf. The panhandle of Florida should be nice. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
So you're saying Georgia, and there are a lot of people, like you said, in Atlanta, but say Alabama, Mississippi should be the equivalent of Pennsylvania, Ohio in terms of population and things.
Yeah,
taking place
like
there.
normal folk, not scum. like there are in.
I just mean in terms of like the population.
No. Well, no, Florida's been ruined. I mean, Florida.
There are a lot of people in Florida. They do have that part of it down.
You know, if you meet, and even people you love, like Crash, who I love, who's one of my best friends, I could meet Crash today for the first time and go, "You grew up in Florida."
Sure.
I could be going back to Kentucky, Alabama.
That's right.
That's right. The
We could have
southern, you go down to Miami, that's ruined. The middle of the state is Deliverance. Yes, there are a lot of parts, and then you have the Everglades where no one lives.
Yeah, the fun,
Yeah.
and Jacksonville's a dump. Like Tampa's a hellhole. Tampa's really the worst out of all of them.
Really?
Oh, with the people there?
Really?
Oh, it's awful. It's really awful. I had a
Okay.
friend that was just in Tampa, and she was sending me pictures of these like outdoor bars, and like everyone was dressed like Bret Michaels, and they all like had like Confederate flag shirts on. They're the worst. Like they all had,
Never been.
like bandana, like how Bret Michaels, and Bret Michaels is a good guy, but like he started this look a long time ago. Like Bret Michaels, that bandana, and like they all dressed like that with dumb Confederate flag shirts on, and all that stuff. But
Florida had the opportunity to be a haven for generations, and look what's happened.
yeah,
Look what's happened.
yeah. I forgot
mean,
the second point.
Surrounded by water, had a chance to be glorious.
Yeah, and close to South America and close to the like islands where there was
Water's
sugar
warm,
cane and things like that.
Weather's warm, water's warm. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, think of how long the Panhandle finally has like turned around. And the Panhandle, if you've never been in Florida Panhandle, just take it, like say nothing was on it. The water is crystal blue. It's almost like has a Caribbean feel to it.
is that where Destin is?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
It almost has like a semi-Caribbean feel to it in terms of the water and everything else. It's, easily accessed by car, like, all of that. But until probably 15, 20 years ago, when I first left Atlanta, people that I liked were starting to think about buying property there. It was cheap. And they're like, we're going to like kind of try this out. Like we're going to like be settlers in this place. Cause Club La Vila and stuff like that. You can do your own research on the Panhandle and the situation in the Panhandle. It was a poor man's Daytona, and that ain't easy to get. A poor man's Daytona.
That seems like redundancy.
And you have been to Daytona, and it's a poor man's Daytona. It was Club La Vila.
Wow.
Bobby. God, there was I don't know. It was like a whole thing. It was like a joke. And now actually it's pretty nice. Scott goes there. Zolak goes there. Not like that proves anything, but he's a proponent of it. And I think Johnston's dad lived there for a while. Ryan Johnston.
Oh. Club La Vila, nightclub, Panama City.
Yeah.
Once billed as the largest nightclub in the United States, bigger than Gillies. They had 40 acres of concrete prairie at Gillies. Hell, they'd have the indoor rodeo there.
6,000 people you can fit in there.
Yeah, and none of them had different non-related parents.
Oh. Damaged in a hurricane, not rebuilt.
Yeah, they decided against rebuilding that.
Uh-oh.
Was that me?
That was not me.
I think that was me.
Yeah.
Not me.
That was me, and I wasn't even positive that was me. My body's making noises
Interesting.
because I was out at that. I left the house at 1:30 yesterday, and I returned home at 9:30.
How is that drive back in pitch black?
It's fine.
45 minutes or whatever it is.
The drive back's fine.
No one going that way.
Yeah, there was no one going anyway. 9 o'clock at night, you're fine.
Okay.
9 o'clock at night, and I'm so used to it now that like if there's no traffic,
you don't
now
even
getting
see
there
it.
was an hour and 20 minutes.
No, but I understand. You don't even see it. You're kind of
Route 2's not. I know what you're saying. Route 2 is not particularly comfortable because it's pitch black and there are lights that are after curves. It's a very the urban planning in quotations urban. The urban planning around Route 2 is quite interesting.
Planning in quotations.
Every
Exactly.
Thursday, I drive from Concord right across Route 2. I mean, I'm in that neighborhood.
But
every night.
so like in
Thursday
traffic,
night.
it just jams traffic. But if there's no traffic and it's dark, it's not like 95 or whatever the F you call it here.
128.
Yeah, there you go, handsome. And there's no lights.
Right.
So, but it's funny because, like, you can't, I don't feel comfortable going like 80 on it because you could go around a corner and then there can be a red light with like cars backed up, like a blind turn into a red light. And you're like, okay, that's great. Thanks a lot for that.
Yep.
And then there's that traffic circle for no reason.
Yep.
Well, that's fun.
Maybe they just get rid of that traffic circle. And by the way, they're doing construction on 95 where they're taking up 3 lanes at night, 95 South. So there was traffic on 95 South coming home. Now, not bad. I didn't have to stop.
Right.
But, you know, going 20, not for long. And I understand they have to do road work. And that was the time to do it. But I just wanted you to know that there was an inconvenience there as well.
Okay.
Not enough to piss me off. But I felt good because Milo was melancholy about the seniors leaving. I thought it was actually quite nice because he only started going there in December. Mm-hmm. So he had built relationships with kids that he was very sad that they were going to be leaving school. So there's a lot of great seniors there.
I get it. It is good to see and witness your kids feeling anything, whether it's joy or sadness or melancholy, something. Oh, okay. There is something turned on in there. That's good.
At this age, they spend way too much time trying to be extra cool. Like nothing bothers them.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with that.
And so I will do. I'll do what I promised. Milo's friend Jordan, who's a senior, who's a 9.5 shortstop on perfect game.
Oh,
is going to the University of Dayton. He's a fine young man. Mm-hmm. Look out, baseball world. Jordan is coming for you there, Milo. I did it. All right, there you go. All right, we'll be back. He's a great kid. He's a mentor to Milo. He's a great kid. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with what happened last night.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub. to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened, so change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
Red Sox and the Mets. Sox trying to complete a sweep of the visiting Mets last night at Fenway Park, taking the first 2 games of the set. Here's something that happened in this game.
Story, 59 strikeouts, the most in the American League. And make it 60, and an even 10 for Tyler McGill, matching his career high.
Neat. He's leading the league. 60 strikeouts now on the season for Mr. Story.
Cool.
All right.
But
so
you couldn't take him away from shortstop.
No. Let's get to the Red Sox offense though. Last night, enough of the strikeouts. Let's get to the highlight singular.
Swinging a high fly ball right field. That's deep. Backing up Soto on the track, circling. He will make the catch. Tagging up Sogard. He is in to score, and the Red Sox have tied it.
Yeah.
I thought it was gone. Bases loaded. Duran hits a bomb. I thought it was out. I thought it was a grand slam. So did Soto, by the way, if you look at it. He had to sprint at the last minute to get there. He thought it was over the bullpen.
Yeah, so that made it 1-1. We're in the 5th. In pretty good shape. Oh, no, not really.
And he spooks one down the left field line. Duran on the run. He won't get there. It hops up against the wall. Torres is in. Here comes Taylor. Right behind him is Acuna stopping at second. And so 2-run score, and the Mets have a 3-1 lead.
And then Juan Soto would sac fly to center, scoring another run. Finally, a solo homer in the 9th would put a capper on this one. 5-1, your final last night from Fenway Park, as the Mets salvage a win in the 3-game series.
Odd decision by Alex Cora pulling Garrett Crochet after just 85 pitches with 1 out in the 6th inning. He called it a load management thing. Crochet gave us enough, but I mean, we're into May here. It's not as though we're just out of spring training and they're kind of ramping things up a little bit. And considering how much the bullpen had been used the previous 2 days, it was an odd decision because the Red Sox were running out of arms last night. I mean, Sean Newcomb, who pitched 4 1/3 or 4 2/3 2 nights before, had to finish up last night.
That was a sports science staff determination.
Yes.
So Hendricks came in, finished the inning, and then loaded up the bases and was unable to get out of it. And then who came in?
I think it was Bernardino.
Oh, Bernardino came in, yeah. And then the two...
who, by the way, also pitched extensively in the previous 2 nights. So
yeah.
But the thing is that if this is the way that they've decided to handle Crochet, you got to be able to sacrifice a game. Now, maybe that wouldn't have happened had 2 nights ago gone differently. And and the more I watched it, the more I don't. It's Buehler. That Buehler, he wouldn't get back on the mound. Whatever, the ump might have been overzealous, and by walking towards him aggressive. But and by the way, I was talking to Roach about it. If there wasn't a rookie catcher, that doesn't happen. Because the experienced catcher, Roach and I were talking about this. A experienced catcher gets between the ump and Buehler and goes to the ump. I'll handle it. Let me handle it.
Instead, it's a good point. And Narvaez decided to sprint out to the mound to try and hold Buehler back, which was wrong. He should have turned around and talked to the ump. That's absolutely right.
And turned around and said, "Look, I'll handle this." And then you just go. You walk out there and you're like, "Get on the mound."
Yep.
And it's funny because. I don't know if we talked about this, but Cora was talking about how he didn't even see any of it happen. He was looking at a replay of the stolen base to see if he should challenge it.
Right.
So he went out and argued. He didn't even know what had happened. He just knew he had to go out and argue because they'd kick Buehler out.
That's right. If he didn't look at the monitor, he would have sprinted out fast enough and helped Narvaez with the ump. That's also a good point.
Yeah, so it was kind of a perfect storm. And Buehler being – So I'm kind of like digging my heels in now. That look, it's not Bueller's fault there was a rookie catcher. It's not Bueller's fault that Cora wasn't looking at the thing, but Bueller's got to be aware that this is a rookie behind the plate, which he knows.
And he said it afterwards. He told the media afterwards. That's the first thing they asked him. The first answer he gave, I believe, was, "I got to be better in that situation." I mean, he took ownership
until he went to social media and didn't. But the
that's true.
Yeah,
about 2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. He had a few drinks and decided to really let it be known how he felt.
That too,
yeah, and so, but look, and if you don't think the pitcher knows that the catcher's a rookie, then I suggest you investigate the game more, because if anything, they are hyper aware of who the catcher is because of, I don't know, framing pitches for one, and getting out the base runners. They would also be aware of, but. The ump blew the call.
Yeah, all of that contributed to blow the bullpen out, and we go back to Crochet, who has had. Again, I understand sort of where the Red Sox are coming from, because last year was his first year as a full-time starter, and they want to make sure there are bullets in the gun for later. But the big picture of all of this is that the Red Sox are back below 500. They've been within 2 games of 500 one way or another for 3 weeks now.
Right, but you do understand, and there's no perfect science to it at all, and no one can tell you that there is, but if they went over the schedule and they're like, here's how we want to handle him, he can go deep, every, like, say, he pitches every 5th day, so he can go deep 3 games, then he's got to have a game where we hold him around 80, and then he can go back. You can't, in May, chuck that out the window and go like, oh, well, it doesn't matter because, like, we have to win this game. Like, his health is way more important than that game. And however you decided to do it, and this isn't baseball nerds. These are scientists that, believe that this is the way to handle him. Now, everyone's different, and there's no perfect way to do it, and he could – on the second pitch of a game, he could, blow out his elbow and need Tommy John. None of this is a perfect science, but if this is what they believe, this isn't swing path or any of that crap. This is protecting the guy's arm, and I understand the decision, and I agree with the decision. Again, if this is what you guys have decided on, this is what you have to stick to. Remember when we had this debate about the kid in Pittsburgh last year? Skeens, and like he was throwing like a no-hitter and they pulled him.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, he's on a pitch count. I was like, yeah, goodbye. You're out, kid. I'm not giving you a no-hitter your rookie year so you can blow your arm out. No, we're bringing you along. We need to trade you next year. So while there's still 4 years on your contract.
Yeah,
because,
that's true. Tommy John surgery diminishes your value somewhat.
Yeah, we can never keep. We need you as healthy as possible for this 2-year run you're going to be with us, even though we drafted you.
Let's go to New York, where last night the Knicks were hosting the Indiana Pacers, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks up 17.
Went to bed
at the 6:26 mark of the fourth quarter.
Went to bed.
So we are midway through the fourth. Does this sound familiar at all? A 17-point lead in the fourth quarter of a playoff game.
It was familiar. It was done in a dramatically different way, but yes, it was familiar.
Karl Anthony Towns made a three-pointer to put the Knicks up 111-94, bit by bit, thanks to Pascal Siakam, thanks to Aaron Nesmith, who made a three-pointer. But still, thanks to Jalen Brunson and his three-pointer, Knicks still up 14 with 2:51 left to go in the game. Pacers keep chipping away. Siakam, Nesmith, and, of course, Tyrese Halliburton, who had the ball. Knicks only now down 3 in the waning moments of the game.
Halliburton driving. He's in the lane. He nearly lost it. He backs up and unloads a three. Oh! That did not happen! It hit the back of the rim. It popped high into the air, and it dropped gently through the net.
Now the Pacers were down 2 at this point, and they called that a 3. It was not a 3. Upon review, his toe was on the line, so that 2-pointer would send the game to overtime.
Just make sure we fully describe things. Halliburton's flying up the floor. His team is down 2. He heads to the basket. Mikal Bridges is on him, almost picks his pocket from behind. Instead, spur of the moment. He has a lane to the basket, but spur of the moment.
Well, Karl Anthony Towns is down there waiting, too.
Yeah, but at the same time, he could have gotten to the basket, draw foul, whatever. He all of a sudden races back outside with the clock running down and fires a shot falling away at the buzzer. It pops, 4 or 5 feet in the air and falls through?
I would say more than that,
and Halliburton wasn't the reason. Neesmith had a fourth quarter for the ages.
6 threes. He was 8 of 9.
He was
from
8 of
3.
9, and,
Yes.
and he's the reason they won. The Knicks didn't do anything wrong. Neesmith just could not miss. Neesmith, who, by the way, was drafted by whom?
The Boston Celtics.
As a three-point shooter, and then he couldn't shoot threes.
While he was
until
here,
this
no.
year. Well, no, until just this year. He really
right.
couldn't. I think he was like a 28% three-point shooter until this year.
That's the thing at Vanderbilt. He was a great three-point
Well, that's
shooter.
why he was a big three-point shooter. That's
yeah.
why Stevens wanted him. Or if it was it Ainge or Stevens who drafted him? Whatever. Whoever they wanted him because he was a big three-point shooter. The future of the NBA. But Neesmith had a fourth quarter. Even I know this. Neesmith had a fourth quarter. I mean, he couldn't miss. And so my point was, and I heard this an analyst say this too, it wasn't like when the Celtics lost to the Knicks where they just lost control of the game and started chucking threes and like missing the basket. This was just a matter of Neesmith not being able to miss. He just hit everything. How many threes did he hit, John?
6 in the fourth.
Yeah, 6 in the fourth.
8 total.
Yeah, 6. Was he 6 for 6 in the fourth?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, well, yeah, it doesn't really matter. If
and-
he wasn't, if he wasn't, he missed 1. Then he was 6 for 7. So he was 6 for. I think he might have been 6 for 6 in the fourth, which they were trying to decide if something like that's ever happened before in a game that close. Like if someone's gone off like that in the fourth quarter.
You're right. I mean, it wasn't like he was unguarded either. He
Right.
just entered that zone that all NBA players want to enter.
Yes.
And to your point, Fred, you go back to that halfway point where the Knicks had a 111-94 lead. They would score 14 more points before the end of regulation.
Right.
It's not like they went on some incredible 22-0 run. No, they scored what should have been enough points to seal that game, if not by a huge margin. What has never happened before is a team being up 9 in a conference finals game in the final minute and then going on to, spoiler alert, lose the game in overtime.
Halliburton inbounded it right to Towns, who couldn't get the three-pointer off in time. And the Pacers get the job done, walking off with their heads held high, stunning this home Knick crowd with a 138-135 overtime win, overcoming a 17-point fourth-quarter deficit. They take a 1-0 Eastern Conference Finals series lead.
2 things. First of all, Halliburton, after making the shot that he thought was a 3, wound up being a 2, put both hands around
did
his
the choking
throat
thing, yeah.
at Madison Square Garden. And the end of the game was great because there were 0.2 of a second left, and Halliburton's inbounding the basketball on Indiana's offensive side of the floor. So what he did was he just threw the ball right to Karl Anthony Towns.
Smart.
He just threw it right at him. And Towns is like, what the? And he threw it at the basket too late. But it was the classic villain move. He's like, not only did I beat you, I'm going to embarrass you at the end of the game as well.
Yeah.
It was great.
Here, take this. And if your feet are on the floor, there's nothing you can do
Game's
about
over.
it.
Oh, it was great.
But if I'm the Knicks, I'm not overly concerned. If you win game 2, I think you're okay. That I don't know if that happens again.
Okay,
and to Hardy's point, the Knicks were only scored 38-35 in the fourth quarter. It wasn't like, again, there was some dramatic, crazy run. It just is the way that it is.
It's not the first time. I mean, everyone remembers Reggie Miller, throwing up the choke sign
that's
in
why
the
he's doing
playoffs. And the funny part about that is Miller did that the same series where he scored those 8 points in the final minute That was later in the series, Game 5. Indiana goes up 3-2. A lot of people forget the Knicks won the last two
Knicks
games.
won the
and went
last
to the
two games of
finals.
that series. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miller had that all-time. It's really top 2 or 3 playoff moments of all time. But John's right. That's a series they did not win. So if I'm the Knicks were more physical from what I saw. Again, I know about Neesmith from this morning, but I mean, I had been gone for 8 hours. Give me a break. I didn't get a chance to nap. Get off my back. All right, here we are, the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox lost to the Mets 5-1 at Fenway Park. Mets avoid a 3-game sweep. Red Sox will pitch Lucas Giolito against Baltimore at Fenway Park tonight. Indiana beat the Knicks 138-135 in overtime in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City voted the NBA MVP. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the balloting. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died in his sleep yesterday afternoon at the age of 65. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off a drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Stay tuned for more.
such an fantastic explosion.
98.5.
His choking gesture, which, I mean, does it require any explanation? He got asked about it in the postgame.
I wasn't like plotting on it or anything. Everybody wanted me to do it like last year at some different point, but it's just gotta feel right. And it felt right at the time. If I would have known it was a 2, I would not have done it. So I think I might have wasted it. If I do it again, then people might say I'm like aura farming. So I'm not, I don't plan on using it again.
What farming? What?
I have no idea.
Aura farming.
What is
Orifice farming.
A-U-R-A.
Orifice farming.
What? No.
The future of AI.
Okay, so that is something too.
Well, you grow orifices in petri dishes.
Is that how do you do that?
Science.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful science.
You need specimens. This sounds like maybe a fringe hobby of guy who's just been gifted an old man guy.
It's our anniversary. Yes, of course I remember. I've gotten you a box. What did you get me? Oh, not again. You're going to put your hands over my eyes. Oh, I hear, okay, I feel the carpet. I hear a door opening. Mothballs. Let's see. Pipe smoke. A tweed jacket. Let me reach. I feel bone and tweed. Oh, you got me an old man. Oh, hand me a pillow, dear. Let's see how long you can last. It's not as bad when they're old.
Now take it easy with them. You remember the last time we got you an old man and you ruined him almost immediately.
Yeah, but I got Johnny at the morgue takes care of these things.
Giving a dog a plush toy. Don't tear it up. You're going to ruin Christmas.
That's for the cat.
No, that's aura farming. I don't know what that means. O-R-A. What does that mean, 12?
A-U-R-A, your aura. You are trying to...
A-U-R-A.
It's like grounding.
Sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like if you stand in the dirt, your cells manipulate themselves. And I got a nice text from Kendra after that conversation about how grounding works.
Oh, that must have been great. You want to read that on the air? I'm sure it's great.
It was not. It was tongue in cheek. But
okay.
Yes, I did get a. She's like, I put my feet in the grass. I'm like, well, I can understand that. Like, and I can understand like the value of like connecting with the earth. You know, Louis C.K. does a bit about like putting your hands in the dirt, like like realizing that we're all on this planet. I don't believe that your cells. That your cells start morphing and adapting and like by your very atoms, your body starts shifting and all of a sudden you become this way healthier person. I think you can become mentally more healthy. And I believe in a lot of stuff because it's true. When they do CT scans of guys that meditate all the time, the gray matter in parts of their brain actually physically increases. The brain waves of Buddhist monks operate at a different level scientifically than those who don't meditate. Like these are ancient techniques. I'm not opposed to all of those things, but I do not believe, and I want a doctor more than I want anything, that when you stand in the dirt, that at a cellular level, your body does not change. I believe
you get dirt cells on your body.
Well, what the hippie that we had on said was, when you're a kid and you play in the dirt, that it makes you healthier. It makes you healthier, sure, by making you sick. You grow natural immunity to things that if you're it's the same thing if you always put the sanitizer on kids' hands, they're more susceptible. If kids aren't exposed to peanuts at a young age, they're more susceptible to get a peanut allergy. All these things, that's all true. It's not changing your cells at a molecular level. It's exposing you to bacteria that your body then has the ability to fight off. Sheesh.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's all changing you at your most basic level. It's getting into your DNA.
Dude, I've done sound pass. I had a guy in rehab with a crystal sitting there with his eyes closed telling me things, and it was and I will say this, even in rehab, everyone laughed. Like that he didn't even get away with that in rehab.
There was news yesterday from the NFL. The tush push, the proposed ban, which they tabled months ago,
like cowards,
did not get enough votes. at the meeting yesterday. NFL Competition Committee Chairman Rich McKay said, "It's not disappointing for me, for our committee, for the committees that did the work. It takes 24 votes to pass anything. We don't set a low bar." He said, "I've been in a lot of rooms. We've had these types of discussions. One team really ends up being, in their mind, more impacted than others. It still takes 24 votes. In this case, votes weren't there, so the rule stays as it is."
Yeah, it just missed. You needed 24 votes. They got 22 against it. Apparently, Jeffrey Lurie, the Eagles owner, filibustered for about an hour in just whatever special session the owners went into just to keep this play legal.
But you know what? At least it's over and I can sleep because it's worthy of all the attention it's received. I mean, how are we supposed to watch football with or without this pushing?
True.
I mean, it has really revolutionized the game. I can't imagine. I'm in this purgatory where I can't imagine living with it or without it. I'm in a very strange place with it. I could care less. I love football. I watch it as much as anyone. And if you watch more than me, you've got a problem. You shouldn't watch everything. I don't care at all, in the least, if they allow it or not. Who cares?
The only time I've cared was it the Commanders game where they kept trying to jump
Yes.
jump over the line?
Yes, Commanders, yes.
And then now you're wasting my time.
Well, that was funny though, because then you learn that an official can get award the touchdown.
Points,
yeah.
So that was interesting. Actually, that was kind of entertaining. And now you know that they can't do that because an official can just award the points. Again, if we want to talk about it seriously, Buffalo, Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City and who Allen you think is big and strong that he'd be good at it, and Kansas City knew which side he wanted to do it to, and they stopped it, and they stopped it over and over and over again. I don't know. I don't quite understand how it's illegal to go a yard. I mean, it's not like a play that it's a play to pick up a yard or a half a yard. Big
deal. The only
deal.
reason it would be illegal is that the runner isn't using his own momentum.
For the same reason that you can't launch off as somebody to block an extra point or a field goal.
Yeah. Right, but that's more of it's allowing you to get higher in the air. Like, if they made a rule that you can't, as a lineman, pull the back into the end zone, like that makes more sense, because football is essentially a game of leverage and pushing. Like, there's nothing in the rule.
Leverage.
It's almost like a human centipede.
Pushing.
The quarterback goes into the center.
Watch this. My knees are the fulcrum.
The center's the only one who's not an AC. He's your DC.
Oh.
See, the quarterback is an AC and a DC because he's got a lineman behind him pushing him into alignment. He's in the middle of the centipede.
The teams that
he has the best time.
The teams that voted against it: Eagles, obviously, Ravens, Browns, Lions, Jaguars, Dolphins, Saints, Titans, Jets, Patriots.
The entire AFC East, in fact.
Oh, well, now I think that it should be banned. Aaron Glenn knows what he's doing. All right, that it will be that. And when we come back, a very interesting man passed away too soon. Someone who had we had an opportunity to talk to once, but someone that we talked about quite a bit over the course of his life. And he unfortunately has passed too soon, but we'll revisit some of our times with him in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub. Is FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox had a chance to win 3 in a row for the first time in 3 weeks last night, and they came up short.
And he spooks one down the left field line. Durant on the run. He won't get there. It hops up against the wall. Torres is in. Here comes Taylor. Right behind him is Acuna stopping at second. And so 2-run score, and the Mets have a 3-1 lead.
That is SNY. Brett Beatty's 2-run single in the top of the 7th inning snapped a 1-1 tie, and the Mets went on to beat the Red Sox 5-1 at Fenway Park. Beatty drove in 3 runs in all for the Mets, who avoided a 3-game sweep. Red Sox back below 500. They've split the first 6 games on their homestand. Lucas Giolito will pitch the opener of a 4-game series with Baltimore at Fenway Park tonight. At the NBA playoffs, Indiana took Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals from the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, 138-135. The Knicks led by 14 points with under 3 minutes to go and lost. In other NBA news, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City was voted the MVP. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the balloting. And Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died in his sleep yesterday. He was 65 years old. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoda's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht. Now 8 locations, including the all-new Subaru of Wakefield. Thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles, all at the right price at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Fred describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the...
And a slave to his base wants, and that's why this story is so fantastic to me. There are people in the NFL that are, if anything, authentic, and that was the case with Jim Irsay. Now, Jim Irsay was someone that incredibly entertaining and endearing. The one clip I want to play before we get to some of those interviews is maybe the most surprised I've ever been by a clip that wasn't gotten by one of our own guys on the street. The scene is some NFL films thing. It doesn't matter, and it's a playoff game that the Colts are involved in. They go down late in the game, and I'm told that Irsay's talking. He's mic'd. Now, Irsay is a guy who collects guitars. He has that, like, kind of stonery voice, like, yeah, like he sounds like somebody who calls Eddie Trunk's show. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll tell you, why isn't Foghat in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? They're all going to be dead before they get a chance, man. Or like, if I was going to rank the various albums by Boston, we're not starting with the self-titled. Let's get deeper in the catalog, man. Mark Farmer invented it all. And so here he is. He's with a bunch of perceived millionaires or billionaires in a box watching his multi-billion-dollar team. And when the chips are down, here's what he had to say.
It's 4th and 2 in plus territory. What do the Colts do here?
Hey, we need 1 freaking yard. Let's go. It's got to convert.
Rush had an album title called Grace Under Pressure.
They give it to Taylor, and he is stopped.
Absolutely stuffed us.
And that is the best. I mean, that is poetry. Yeah. That is the greatest thing that could ever. I mean, he's like, as the great poet Neil Peart once said, grace under pressure. Like the way he says it is fantastic.
The band he talks about, it's all like quintessential him.
It is a guy. When I was a kid, I lived right by the public high school, North Farmington. And when I was a kid, my dog one time got loose in the school, and I walked into the school, and to me that school. This is like, the early 80s is a bunch of guys in like denim, like jackets, like smoking cigarettes and like rolling like bad joints in the parking lot and smoke because our house was right by it, like smoking joints in our lawn. Like this was what it was to me. And I walked into and I used to think this was a dream, but it wasn't. I walked into the kitchen and there was a mural of Led Zeppelin and Ozzy. Like they had let the Heschers at the school paint the cafeteria,
right,
which I'd imagine was like a great victory for them.
But it's a bunch of Jim Irsays hanging around.
But it's like those. My point is, it's like they gave those guys $1 billion.
Yeah,
that was Jim Irsay's life. So on the old show, we did have an opportunity to talk to him. We talked to him for like an hour, and he was very charming and very open. And that's. I talk a lot about authenticity, and the reason I despise Belichick is because I believe he covered up his own stupidity with arrogance, which is a horrible, horrible character flaw. Again, in his book Winning, he has a chapter called When I Made Mistakes I Made, which, by the way, in a released email, he didn't even want to put in the book. And his mistakes are stupid garbage. And one of the mistakes is I should have drafted Lamar Jackson because I knew he was going to be great. That's like a mistake. Okay, you dick. That's the mistakes you've made in life, you fool. Like, I mean, that's what nice, like transparency. Let's all go buy the book.
No, having someone like Irsay who was genuine and honest and open about his failings and his flaws, and also like completely open about the things that he loves. So, yeah, when he was on, and I remember listening to this riveted because you would think maybe he would kind of throw some water on it. It's like, oh, you said that funny thing about Grace Under Pressure. Do you really love Rush that much? Oh, yeah, he loves Rush that much.
Great to be here. I never thought Boston radio would have me, but, I appreciate it. With the Colt Patriot rivalry through the years, we love you guys, and so many great memories in Boston town, and God bless Neil Peart. We miss him, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Man, Neil left us too soon. I have, my set at home's got 59 symbols in reference to the 59 years he spent on this planet.
I never heard of Rototoms before I saw him play on the Presto tour, but then I went and got some.
Not a good era for the band. He started using those electronic drum heads.
He had more to say about Rush.
Do you know the guys in Rush?
I met Getty. Our drummer, Kenny Aronoff's, of course, real close with those guys, and knew Neil, and what an incredible performer. And, Kenny may be the best drummer in the world, but Neil, was right up there with the legends like Bonham and Moon and through the years. And I tell you, what a band, the pride of Canada for sure. And just love those guys.
That band that he put together.
Kenny Aronoff, who was the John Mellencamp drummer and like everything else. Like, Mike Mills on bass.
It was incredible. That band that he assembled to put Mike Mills from REM went out and toured with Jim Irsay along with Kenny Aronoff, who is like has been, maybe still is one of the more sought after studio session drummers because he's that good. Jim Irsay calls up and says, "You want to tour around with my collection of like jerseys and guitars and stuff and play shows?" And they said, "Yeah." I'm sure they got paid a ton. But
no. I think what he said is, "Do you want to play these free shows for me?" And they said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Here's a lot of money." And they went, "Yes, yeah." Because Mike Mills loves sports. Getting Kenny Aronoff, like you just said, is a matter of pulling him away from other things. He was like Vanessa Carlton's touring drummer too.
Yeah.
You know where I heard him recently? Eddie Trunk. Had him
Kenny
on.
Aronoff?
Of course. Yeah.
Yep. Kenny Aronoff, who he almost got in a fist fight, or he did get in a fist fight with John Mellencamp, that's very hard to believe.
Don't find that hard to believe at all.
All right, so, and when you talk to Irsay about some other things there, Hardy.
Guitars.
I tell you, it's the greatest guitar collection in the world, from Prince's guitar to David Gilmour's both his Black Strat on all his famous leads that Kenny Wayne Shepherd plays on Comfortably Numb, and Jerry Garcia's Tiger, and, many, Beatle guitars. And the collection goes on and on. Johnny Cash, no one has any idea what they're going to see until they see this collection, because Hunter S. Thompson's Red Shark will be there. He bought a red convertible after he rode Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And so I've helped Anita out at Owl Farm to try to keep it going, as a place to visit.
Yeah, so Owl Farm is the place in Colorado that Hunter S. Thompson had, and Anita's his ex-wife, who put up with a lot, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm. And his shenanigans.
Yeah, pulling guns on her all the time and stuff. I imagine
having
that
in his will that he wanted to be blasted into space through a Revolutionary War cannon. Or
Johnny Depp almost went bankrupt for real doing that Hunter S. Thompson funeral. Johnny Depp funded the whole thing. And spent millions and millions and millions of dollars doing that, to the non-delight of everyone around him, and ended up having to do movies to end up making up the difference. We're getting off part, but the thing about Irsay there that's kind of cool and funny is that he collected all this stuff. I won't say crap, because it's not. It's valuable stuff, but all this stuff that is completely unrelated. So, he didn't just have a musical collection.
No.
He had the original Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book with, their notes when they were creating it. He just, alongside Ringo Starr's kit from when they played on, the Ed Sullivan Show or whatever. He has the red convertible that Hunter S. Thompson has next to, a moon rock. He just had, and he brought it around. And, it's funny and teasing him about it, but in a world of arrogant guys that act like nothing happens until it does, that was why Irsay, I believe, was so special, is because he was a very human guy that seemed to be having a good time.
So there are all the guitars, as you mentioned, Fred. There's the Hunter S. Thompson, the convertible. Is that what he said?
Yeah, yeah, that's what he was talking about with that convertible. Yeah.
There is some movie memorabilia. The Wilson volleyball from Castaway.
Right.
The golden ticket from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Again, when you go to a museum, it usually has
Big Book of Alcoholics.
Well, the Big Book from the Alcoholic. I don't even know how he got that.
But Wilder touched this, man.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that it's just a collection of cool stuff. But usually when you see a collection, it's a collection of art. And not only just a collection of art, but if not one artist, a certain style of art. It's this is such a vast thing. It's just cool stuff. And to his credit, I mean, he did tour it around. A lot of our listeners went to the garden and went and saw it, and it's a free museum. I mean, he created a free museum. I don't know what's going to happen to all this stuff now. I know he has a museum in Indianapolis because when the Super Bowl was there, I went through it. So I imagine that his family would keep that alive.
But he also had artifacts from American history, including a John Hancock signed lottery ticket that was used for the rebuilding of Faneuil Hall, and a copy of the Declaration of Independence, which he wanted a certain someone to sign to be a part of it, and he told that story.
I have a copy of the Declaration of Independence that was done by a guy named Stone about 220 years ago. There's a few copies made. So I brought it to Martha's Vineyard about a year and a half ago and showed it to President Obama, and I'm like, well, Mr. President, I thought it'd be great, we could bridge the nation together. You could sign this copy. And he's like, wait a minute, you want me to sign the copy? Come on, Mr. President. He goes, Jim, I am not signing the Declaration. Yes, sir, Mr. President, I understand. I'll give you a signed letter, but I am not signing that document. So,
again, that's a kid, that's Billy from the parking lot at the high school in 1982 or 1978. Meeting the president. Hey, man, I just happened to pound this original copy of the Declaration of Independence. Disgrace it.
You should sign it, too.
Hey, man, you're the president, man. Just because you weren't alive back then doesn't mean you could do it. I don't think that's a good idea, Jim. I think that could look disrespectful to the country. Huh? Again, that was the wonderful thing about Jim Irsay, is that he was again.
Pure.
That pure Hesher kid just having fun with his money. It's really Billy Madison with the Hesher that it just had all this money and just did all this fun stuff with it kind of randomly and seemed to really enjoy his life. But the big story, Artie, we'll end with this, is, of course, what I really appreciate about Jim Irsay and most people that do this is Irsay was very open about his the issues he had with addiction, and he told us this.
I mean, I go back to like when we were kids, when we were 8 years old. The best thing is get a ball, go to the park, it's snowing, play football all day with your friends. This world wants to try to steal your innocence away, and don't let it. The jaws of life will, chew up your innocence, and the world loves to take that away from us.
He was talking about that in terms of sobriety and how it can give you some type of peace, trying to find some moments of bliss. And one of the things that I appreciate about him too, Fred, is that while he was very much a proponent and an advocate of sobriety, and he says that the big book saved his life, he wasn't perfect, and he knew he wasn't perfect. And it's anybody trying to do anything in life, your goal shouldn't be perfection. He was trying to stay alive the best way that he knew how, and he wasn't great at it. We don't know what happened ultimately here. We do know there was an incident back in December where there were medical personnel called to his house. So, he struggled, but he was open about his struggles, and he was open about everything in his life, and he just seemed to have this unbridled passion and attitude toward everything that was, as I heard that day, and as I'm sure you experienced when you talked to him, it was infectious. It was completely infectious, and it's something you just celebrated in the moment.
And he had every reason in the world to be a dick. And he wasn't. His dad was a abusive alcoholic. His dad was hated. You can just YouTube it. His dad was drunk at an airport the night that they moved the team to Indianapolis, and he's combative and he's yelling. Irsay didn't have a good childhood. Now, he did inherit all that money, but as you know, that's not a recipe for success. Just inheriting money after that kind of childhood can turn people a lot of ways. And the way Jim Irsay, look, he had his demons. He was very open about them. And there's few things in this world I respect more than that. And he was able to keep that kind of, and it was fun. Like when you talk about Jim Irsay, and we would even like tease that stuff, it was fun. Like, right? It wasn't like malicious going after him. He had fun. He had a joyful life. He could have turned out to be everything wrong with, guys that get money, that come from those kinds of backgrounds. And we're experiencing that now in our country, a lot of places. But, he maintained that innocence. Everyone that was around him really seemed to love him. Every guy you talked to from the Colts, I know Manning, the Mannings loved him. Peyton Manning absolutely loved him. He had nice things to say yesterday. And so Jim Irsay was just such a fun part of the show. And then when we talked to him, and Bert uses the example in his article, when we talked to him, we spent an hour talking to the guy, and he was everything is advertised. And so that's just our little small, we didn't know him. I never met him. I just really thought the guy was kind of cool and was a lot of fun. And it's sad that he passed away. So there you go. That is our take on the Jim Irsay situation. Mike Dussault will be joining us. Who knows how he feels about Irsay? I really don't care.
Oh,
if he's gonna come on and badmouth the guy, I don't need that.
Boy,
that's his way. This guy taking a flamethrower at everything. I love. But we'll have him on anyway. I really tried to get it not to happen after I learned of the passing of Irsay, because I knew.
Tried to get Dussault not to come on the air?
Yeah, because I know his way. And his way is to try to rock the boat.
Selfish son of a bitch.
Well, everything's a roast to him.
Yeah. Jesus.
With his love of Jaws. No, I'm just kidding. Mike Dussault, but all of us wanted to do something about Jim Irsay. I thought he was a really interesting, fun guy. And it's sad that he's gone. All right, we'll be back with Mike Dussault in just a moment.
You're listening to Touch.
comes to music.
It is a exciting time for us because we can talk to Patriot writers again. There's that time after the draft that there's no point, but there is OTAs going on now. And Mike Dussault, who is a co-worker of Hardy's, is a writer and content producer for Patriots.com. He's there in the building for all of these things. Hello, Mr. Dussault.
Hello. Good morning.
You know, Hardy is off to see a live symphony doing Jaws to the Jaws film.
Already saw it. Invited Deuce to go with me, and he told me to go F myself.
Wow.
Why didn't you go with him?
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Complicated evening with kids and things, but my wife was very disappointed too. So, maybe this summer Hardy and I can hook up when they re-release Jaws for the 50th anniversary. So maybe we can get that going.
My wife still thinks we're going to go to the Vineyard for, we're not going for the week or even like 3 or 4 days, but there is the big 50th anniversary celebration. And like the guy who played Alex Kittner, he's still, there, and he's going to be hosting a Q&A, and you can go around. So now she thinks we may be doing just a day trip, just going to the vineyard for the day, celebrate, because this was my birthday present, and I just keep staying silent on the matter.
Yeah, Jaws fans and the women who love them, got much respect.
Yeah, you can drive to the Cape in the summer.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
And then you can get on the ferry.
Right.
And then you can take the ferry to Martha's Vineyard, and then you can navigate your way to wherever the hell these festivities are.
Right, and then get on, and then same day.
And then the same day, make the ferry.
Yeah.
Get back to your car, and then drive back from the Cape.
Right.
What a fun day trip.
Exactly.
9.5 hours.
Exactly. Which is why I just say nothing. Whenever she brings it up, I'm like,
And I'm sure that would be a lot of fun anyway, to see like people in a movie that you liked 50 years later that just happened to be alive.
It's interesting, Fred. All of the things you mentioned require about an hour wait. That's very difficult to do on any trip.
Well, just getting to the Cape in general in the summer is a lot of fun.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to spend an hour looking at that bridge trying to get onto the Cape.
Yeah. It's not something that it sounds like something that I wouldn't do for money, to be honest with you. Good. Have fun with that. That sounds like a lot of fun, and it will live up to every expectation.
Right?
You have,
Yeah,
which should be low as it is.
That's the important part of it. There will be nothing disappointing or underwhelming about the whole day.
Right, because all the main actors are still alive. I'm sure Richard Dreyfuss will put on quite a show for you, and then Spielberg will be there too. I'm told he'll be there. He'll actually put you in the new one. Oh no, Mike. They have. And it's a solemn day. They have allowed the tush push to stay in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to think. Where are we at with the tush push, Mike?
The
Patriots voted again. Oh, Mike,
I know.
Don't be so glib.
I don't. I mean,
why? My question to you is this: Why does anyone care about this?
I know.
I'm being serious. From a football perspective, why does anyone care about this?
Yeah. Well, it's all the talking heads who are offensive or defensive linemen. They all have very strong opinions about it. But I think for the general fans, they're like, well, just stop it. The Eagles are the one team that just keeps doing it successfully. You can't change the rules because one team is really good at something. So, yeah, I'm fine with. I like the way the Patriots voted. Keep it in. Figure out how to stop it and stop crying about it.
Do you know Jason Kelsey flew to the meetings to litigate the situation like a loser?
Good.
Right.
Best part is they tried to talk to him. I'm not here to talk to the media. I'm focused on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you in your dumb podcast? Is that what you're focused on? The one thing is Travis Kelsey. There's a picture of him now, and he has a very hairy back, and he's unashamed of it. So I hate to tell you that's 1 point for Travis Kelsey. He's finally done something that I appreciate. He's a back hair advocate, which I actually appreciate.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? Everybody should be focused in on, Patriots fans specifically, is the disaster that is Drake May with the four picks that he threw 2 days ago.
It's over. It's over.
So is it over? Did you witness any of this? What are you seeing? What's wrong? And what will they end up doing at quarterback now in this upcoming season?
Yeah, when that fourth one happened, I'm like, oh man, this is just it's such a perfect headline for everyone to overreact to. I mean, I don't need to pump the brakes. Of course, it's like day 2 that they've been on the field. Hunter Henry's like, we installed this stuff 3 weeks ago. We're out here trying to put it together. So, and there's also some context within those interceptions, which I think is a positive thing to see Christian Gonzalez looking dynamic and picking up right where he left off his second-team All-Pro season last year. So, look, you knew it was going to be a process with Josh McDaniels. They're changing a lot of this offense. There's a lot of new things. I think you saw what you saw last year with Drake May in the early going, that he's, maybe a little hesitant trying to figure things out, but it's still so early that it just makes such a perfect headline at this dead point in sports, especially here in Boston. It's the only thing to talk about. So I'm still really excited. It was great to see the team on the field a couple of days ago, and just good energy. It's very different, though. It's very different than the last two coaches we had here. So it's interesting to watch some of these practices unfold with different philosophies.
Did you hear how Mike immediately turned it into a defensive conversation?
Is he a big defensive guy?
That's all he wants to talk about is defense.
I know.
Obnoxious.
Well, it was pretty exciting when Robert Spillane ran out of the tunnel with his mirrored face mask, full speed. That guy is full tilt all time. So I think fans are really going to like him. So yeah, thank you, Hardy. Yes, defense was very exciting, and it's a whole new look defense. So yes, I am excited about it.
New long snapper.
Yeah,
hey,
rookie. Got to get a look at him. What's his snap velocity? We'll clock that for you guys.
Oh, you're leaving out the kicking situation. Very important. The guy they drafted has the early lead.
Early lead, right? I will say I love, having done some of these training camps now, but I think this will be my 7th season with the team. It is fun for me to just have like 2 kickers in camp and actually have some kind of competition. I mean, I think the rookie should probably win it if all goes according to plan, but it's always fun at the end of practice when you line it up. And usually with these kind of positional competitions, we're all spinning our wheels trying to figure out what's going on, but it's pretty obvious when they just line the ball up and kick them and back it up and surround them with all the team yelling at them and increase the pressure. So it is a fun way to end some practices. So plenty going on out there, guys. Lots to see.
Well, it's funny because everyone dismisses kickers until the season, and and oftentimes they're the most important part of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, how many games have I suffered through where the Greg Zerlines of the world have had an inability to kick a 45-yard field goal at an end of the game to beat a very bad Denver team?
Dude, I don't know how many times I argued against it and just screaming into the wind. I did it for years with Zolak and with you and Paul Perillo too. Sitting there doing post games, I'm like, you can't complain about the kicker because nobody cares about the kicker. I might be the one guy who's like, hey, maybe you should have like a legitimate backup kicker on the team. Maybe you should find a roster spot. Maybe at the very least you should find somebody on the team who can also kick because nobody wants to talk about a kicker. They're not a real football player, blah, blah, blah. He's only the one guy on your team who you're almost certainly game in, game out, every game of the year going to be called upon to put points on the board. But the teams don't care about him. Owners don't care about him. Yeah, we'll give you a contract, but after a couple of years, I'm sure we can just find somebody else. So, yeah, hopefully they do pay attention this year.
Yeah, I think it's a priority for them to get back to the stability that they had with Adam Vinatieri and with Steven Gosowski for such a long time. You really didn't have to think about it. So last handful of years, you've been recycling through guys. Nick Folk was really consistent, but hearing from Jeremy Springer this spring, this is what they want. They want to find the next guy. I think they're hoping Borregales can stabilize that position for the long term. And you don't have to keep, looking at free agents and veterans and all that stuff.
Okay. And tell us about this slot receiver, this undrafted slot receiver.
You have to have one. You have to have one every year.
Well, what if he's good? I'm actually curious. What if he's good?
Yeah, I mean, he could be. Look, I think Pop Douglas, it's a little bit redundant to him. I'm not sure exactly I think there's 12 receivers on the roster right now, and a lot of them played last year. You brought in a couple new guys. So it's a little bit hard for me to see how he makes the roster with Pop Douglas in the mix because that's what Pop Douglas does. And he, looked good 2 days ago. So, but everybody loves those little try-hard slot receivers, and that's what Efton Chisholm is. So I think it'll make for some fun this summer watching him. And who knows, though? We all know Josh McDaniels has a little bit of a type with those kind of guys, but I still just think Pop Douglas, probably the more talented player, more experienced, and he's going to get those snaps ultimately, unless injuries happen, which is always a possibility.
In a general sense, kind of to kind of put a bow on this, how did it look to you? Did it look faster and crisper and cleaner than last year? People getting in and out of drills, that kind of stuff?
I mean, a little bit. I don't want to overplay that stuff. I mean, there's definitely – we've only seen 2 practices now. We saw the rookie mini camp, and then we saw this one a couple of days ago. But like I said, it's different. I mean, I'm not saying better, worse, whatever. It's just you saw Mayo's kind of took a lot of how Bill structured practices, and Vrabel has a little bit different. I mean, of course, it's the same thing. I mean, the stretching, whether you're on the end line or that sideline stretching, it's not that big of a deal. But I definitely think Vrabel is kind of the tone setter out there, certainly in rookie mini camp. You guys know, I'm sure he's jumping into drills. I mean, he just brings the energy to everybody, and he's constantly floating around. So I think it all starts at the top with him. But, yeah, there's a lot of new guys out there, and there's a tempo to practice. And I'm sure, once we get into the real practices, like in training camp, we'll see that even compound even more.
All right. Well, look, Mike Dussault, I just know that there is availability, I'm sure, on Martha's Vineyard for day trips if you can get on a ferry.
I'm just gonna go and sit on the Jaws Bridge and reflect upon the movie for a little while, and then I'll just come back. It's just a nice day.
Deuce, what's the name of the ship that Hooper was supposed to go out on, but he canceled
The Aurora?
trip? Okay,
Jesus.
Yeah.
I feel like I should update you guys too. I did finish my Jaws Orca Lego set, so that came together nicely. I was able to finish it, so I appreciate your support.
Well, you're on camera right now. Is it nearby? Can you hold it up? And show it to
No,
me?
it's in the back. But if you want some Deuce glory in back of me, you got that.
And you're married.
Yeah, I know. I found one.
real
He
impressive.
has kids. He's had sex.
No, but I'm just wondering how he stays faithful when he has these kinds of activities going on. Well, Mike, you speak to now. I'm sad I got divorced. All right, Mike, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it very much. Thanks, man.
Thanks, fellas. Talk to you soon.
All right, we appreciate it. There you go. By the way, I forgot about this, but Mike Felger is joining us at 9 o'clock. I don't know if Felger's ever been on the show before. If he has, it hasn't been many times.
That's a good point. We've had Big Jim on. We've had Maz on. But
We've had Maz on a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam wants Maz on every day.
Yeah.
I say, well, it's a little redundant. He's on the air 5 hours a day, but
Yeah, but he's up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I know
so-
he is, and he used to come into the station at 7 o'clock in the morning to get away from his family. You know that. He used to lay on Chachi's couch.
True.
Well, he had to be here to receive his packages that he didn't want sent to the home because I don't think he was supposed to be buying so much stuff online. So he had his packages delivered to the radio station.
You know, that's always a good relationship when you have someone controlling the money.
Back in the old days, you want me to do Naughty Maz live?
Look, man, I'm divorced, but the marriage wasn't bad for very long. It just kind of hit a point where it got bad. If my wife was ever like, you're spending too much money, I'd be like, unless I'm like $100,000 in gambling debt. Let's not I'll get as many packages as I want. How about that? like I know I'm not the one to stalk, but I had a real good run. Like it was, we still get along great. Like it got bad. Like around COVID, it got bad, and we shouldn't be married. I mean, we're still very close. We shouldn't be married, but if just any future girlfriend or wife or anything, I'll buy what I want. How about that? Don't worry so much about what I buy. That's going to be a hard, fast rule for the rest of my life. Yeah. As long as I'm making money, I'll spend it the way I see fit. I'm pretty fiscally responsible. Don't worry about the packages. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. There is a list out. I'm almost 1,000% positive. In fact, a no stakes on your end bet. I'll bet you guys $20 a piece that I can get the number one on this list. I have not looked at it.
Okay.
There's no doubt in a million years in my mind I'm not correct for many reasons. We'll be back. Here are the headlines.
Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Mets beat the Red Sox 5-1 at Fenway Park to avoid a 3-game sweep. Red Sox drop back below 500. They'll host Baltimore tonight. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals last night goes to Indiana, 138-135 in overtime over the Knicks. The Knicks kicked away a 14-point lead with under 3 minutes left in regulation. In other NBA news, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander voted the league's MVP for the first time. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the balloting. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died in his sleep yesterday at the age of 65. And at the NHL playoffs, Dallas beat Edmonton 6-3 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the DeMore McKim School of Business at Northeastern University. You'll gain business strategy, expertise, leveraging AI, data, and technology. Learn more at their weekly admissions events. Save your spot at northeastern.edu/business events. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock. Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Toucher or is that Hardy?
Kind of looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy. And Adam, what is it that we have for the people today? Who is doing this?
Hardy's taking care of this one. He's got the big list of the top 25 college football players of the century.
Oh, it's college football players.
Yes. Ranking
of
college
the century.
football.
Oh, I thought it was college athletes of the century.
Top 25
that's what
players
it was said to me.
Of the 2000s.
I said regardless of sport, and that's what Adam said.
No, actually, you had said regardless of sport. I said no, it's not regardless of sport. It's just football.
That's not what I heard.
Well, what you heard is
because I was
going to
say Caitlin Clark. There was no doubt about it, 1,000%. Because maybe she deserves it, and B, like there seems to be this insistence.
ESPN's in charge of the list.
Insistence on women's basketball right now.
Yeah.
No, this is from The Athletic, and they're ranking the top 25 players of the 2000s. So John and I are going to tag team this. John has the consolidated list in front of them, and then I will tell you everything you need to know about a particular player. If you, Fred, are lucky enough to name just one top 25 player from college football in the 2000s.
Cam Newton.
That actually is number one on the list.
Okay, so you're starting.
Way to
off
go,
with
Fred.
Starting off with the bang, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to know anything
Number
other than
one.
he's Cam Newton, and he was a quarterback at Auburn.
Young from Texas.
That's correct. Vince Young, number 7 on the list.
Very Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush is number 2 on the list. You can have offensive and defensive players. Both are represented.
Yeah, you don't have to just go offense, you simp.
Charles Woodson, was he in the 90s?
Yes.
He was in the 90s.
Yeah, Charles Woodson was
There's
in the 90s.
there's a big dude. He's a lineman. You should know this guy. Sociopath.
Yes.
Ranks very high on the list. He's the highest ranking defensive player, John?
Yes.
Ndamukong Suh.
Number 3.
Very
on the
good,
list.
Fred.
Yes. Now let me think. There's other defensive players on this.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get you.
I'm looking at Sue's numbers, by the way.
Yeah, they were ridiculous.
Oh, at Nebraska,
215 tackles, 50 tackles for losses, 24 sacks, 4 interceptions.
Yeah. The other high player, there are 2 other defensive players in the top 10, one recent, one not recent. I'll give you a hint on the not recent one. One of Bill Belichick's favorites.
Oh, Ed Reed?
Yep.
Okay.
Very correct. Very good. Ed Reed.
And I'm going to guess that Andrew Luck is on this list.
Andrew Luck is on this
there
list.
you go.
Yes.
Going back to the offense.
Yeah, and if so, you want me to go defense? You want me to get cute with
I
this?
don't care what you do.
Is Myles Garrett on the list?
Myles Garrett is not.
Yeah, I didn't figure he would be. He was more of a prospect. No. I was just throwing a defensive player out there. I did not make that as a definitive pick. Are there offensive linemen on this list?
Yes, there are.
Okay. There are offensive linemen on this list.
Actually, there's only one that I can see looking at it real quick.
Is it the kid that was on the Cowboys?
No.
Okay. All right, so I'm not going to guess that.
All right. Hey.
Did you guess he didn't guess the cute nickname one. Way down at the bottom.
Shoelaces from Michigan?
24.
That's
24.
Right.
No, from
that's right.
A highly regarded.
Travis Hunter's got to be on that list.
He
Travis
is the other
Hunter
guy
is
in
on
the
the
top 10. That's
Yeah.
Travis Hunter is on the list.
But there's a guy way down at the bottom from a highly regarded academic institution in the SEC who had a very cute nickname.
This guy's 24th on the list.
So it's LSU.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It is an LSU player. Is it a receiver?
No, he's a defensive player.
Oh, Honey Badger.
That's right.
There you go.
Tyrann Mathieu, number 24.
All right. I'm doing
You're
quite well.
ripping him off. You are.
You know,
You're
some
doing
say
really
I'm
well.
the best at this.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. Maybe I am.
you know, I'm getting emails, and some are saying, you know, no one's been better. Maybe you should make the list next time.
Never seen anyone better.
Yeah. Some people are saying it. I have very big hands.
Yes.
There's a lot of people
Passed this
very
test with
unfunny.
playing college. No one's ever seen a score this high.
It hasn't been funny since the 70s.
Yeah.
All right. When it wasn't really actually funny.
Yep.
All right. Let me think of quarterbacks, because not all these guys became good pros. I would imagine.
One guy on the list you absolutely cannot stand. You've hated him from the moment he was drafted.
What side of the ball?
Quarterback.
Oh, I've hated him ever since the day
Yep.
he was drafted. I cannot stand him.
Yep.
Hachi Manchi. That's a lot of pressure. There's so many people I can't stand.
Is it the obvious one? Are you talking number 8?
No.
Did he already name 8?
No, he didn't. He got into trouble talking about 8, though.
Yeah, you got in trouble.
Tim
talking
Tebow,
about-
of course. Tim Tebow, of course, was a very good college player. Is there a receiver from Florida on that list that played with Tebow?
No.
Oh, there should be. Okay. A guy that I couldn't stand ever since he was drafted. I couldn't stand him in college.
I don't remember, but you sure have hated him from the second he turned pro.
I don't know. Johnny Manziel's not on that list, is he?
Not on the list.
I don't know which of these quarterbacks it is. I don't know who Fred hates.
It's Baker Mayfield.
Oh, I don't hate him anymore.
Yeah.
Now that he's you know what I appreciate. He's gone through his thing and now he's come out the other side. I'm not. I didn't like Baker Mayfield being the first overall pick in the draft. I thought that was ridiculous. Just like I didn't think Johnny Manziel or Tim Tebow should have been drafted. But it wasn't like I was alone in those things, except Mel Kiper, who thought Johnny Manziel should have been the number 1 pick in the draft.
John, Fred did not get the receiver at 11, correct?
He did not.
Okay,
No.
so I'm not familiar with his college career. He finished second in the Heisman voting. He lost to Jason White in the Heisman vote. So this is
That's
early.
a name and a half.
How about that
Jason
one? So
White.
Jason White.
Oh, he's a quarterback, right?
Yes.
Give me the year.
2003.
So it's not the kid from West.
2003, he was the first sophomore to win the Walter Camp Award for National Player of the Year, finished second in the Heisman vote to Oklahoma quarterback Jason White. He is a wide receiver from Pitt.
Hall of Famer is an NFL receiver.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Very good, Fred. Killing it.
All right.
I got credit where it's due.
You have 6 of the top 8. You're missing 2 quarterbacks in the top 8. Both of them playing as we speak right now in the NFL. Both of them.
Joe Burrow?
That's one.
That's one.
Okay, and the other guy that would be playing in the NFL right now is certainly not Josh Allen.
Multi-time MVP.
Okay, well, that makes it easier. Multi-time MVP is Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there you go.
He didn't say Marcus Mariota. That's good, but he's also on the list.
All right.
Okay.
Mariota was very good. All right, there you go. A good showing from yours truly. Every now and again, we have to pull out the big guns and show you that this guy doesn't get the credit he often deserves. Some say that he should get all the credit, but,
Yeah.
I don't think so, but a lot of people seem to think that way.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go so far as I don't think so, but, it's up to you.
Maybe I do think so. Maybe I should. Maybe I should take all the credit.
And here we are again.
Never seen a guy score this well.
I mean, if I asked either of you two, it would have been way worse, not as good. But I'm not going to say anything.
He did it before, and it was a disaster. It was a disaster. It was the worst thing anyone had ever seen.
I'm told before this, John was going to be the guy that answered the questions, but it was too hard. It was too hard for him. They needed someone more intelligent, more knowledge. Speaking of dummies, Nick took a DNA test
and failed.
And failed it. But
in a way, he did.
There's a couple things. There's one thing.
He kind of did.
Oh, boy.
It's not just, to my understanding, it's not just where his lineage is from, which is interesting enough.
Yeah.
Because his father obviously isn't going to be happy about that. But not that he came from a different family or anything, but he reps something that maybe isn't so big. But also, it has the strengths, genetic strengths and weaknesses Nicholas should have.
Yes.
And we're going to play a guessing game with that, which should be a lot of fun. We've been saving this for a while. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Touch.
The Knicks led by 14 with under 3 minutes left and couldn't finish the Pacers off. Tyrese Halliburton had a shot at the buzzer at the end of regulation to send it to OT. He scored 31 points in the win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City was voted the MVP last night. Jason Tatum finished fourth in the voting. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died in his sleep yesterday. He was 65 years old. Also, the Green Bay Packers measure to ban the Philadelphia Eagles' tush push narrowly failed to pass yesterday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Colossal Lobster Rolls at the 99. 100% North Atlantic lobster piled high on grilled brioche. Served hot, buttered, or with just the right amount of mayo and celery. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app. Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Toucher and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
You can, I can,
In deciphering those shapes into language. That's where the mic goes, buddy, right there in front of your face. Play a trombone when you're trying to even fix the mic. All right, young Nicholas, who has been with me for so long. He's been with me before even Jonathan was here.
That's true.
And then he left because I was too mean to him.
The Batman episode.
That's true.
Yes.
And then he came back. He came back, and now look at him now. He's here. He's a very valuable part of the show. And despite his medical ailments, which Beasley gets a lot of government credit for, Nick was, of course, found by his now wife at one point, covered in his own feces. He had a mysterious illness that left him lame, able to poo, but unable to function otherwise.
It wasn't a mystery. We know what it was.
You didn't at the time?
Not at the
What
time.
was it?
But we found MRSA.
How'd you get it?
No idea.
There is the mystery.
What is
Nicholas.
MRSA? MRSA is a staph infection. Like a
John
serious
Stamos.
staph
It's named after, Lou Gehrig's disease. This is named after John Stamos, his famous line, MRSA. And that's a shout out to all you Full House fans out there. All right, Nicholas.
And they are legion.
And they are legion. Nicholas.
So, Nicholas, why did you do this DNA test?
Well, for Christmas, this was a gift from my mother-in-law, and it's one of those Ancestry DNA tests. And I forgot I had it, and I figured, well, I'm going to do it. And I didn't realize how much information they would give you once everything is processed. So not only my origin, but they said traits as well and they based that from my DNA. So
I had a long conversation with my son about this recently, who wanted to do one of these DNA tests or wanted somebody in the family to do it. I said, absolutely not. He said, why? I said, because it goes into a database and your DNA is in a database. And if I ever kill somebody, then if you submit your DNA, then and my DNA is at the crime scene, they can send my DNA into one of these databases and say, okay, we don't have a match for him, but we did find a match from somebody who's closely related to him. And they've done this. They have caught criminals this way. And he's like, who are you going to kill? I said, that's my business, but I got a good reason for it. He said, maybe you should go to jail. I said, you little snitch, you little son of a bitch.
So you don't give blood?
I give blood, but they don't keep your blood and put the DNA from the blood into a data bank somewhere.
I'm sure they do. They test it, after all.
But they wouldn't know where to look.
Right. This.
You don't think that there's a government system? We're getting way off track, but I
Yes.
think it's time to educate you fools.
Okay.
You don't think that the government has some elaborate computer system
with everyone's DNA in it? No.
Okay.
I do not.
All right. Well, I suggest you get to Reddit post haste.
Okay. Dan Lifshatz has entered the chat. Okay.
Good. I can't wait.
Yeah. You know what the problem with this guy is? He's not standing in the dirt. I've had more people that I'm friends with go, it's true. It's true. And I go, I don't doubt it has health benefits.
No, someone spit that metallic line at me the other day. Your body's metallic, so's the earth. It's connecting. Connecting.
This is why it was such a horrible guest to book, and it's all on. The blood is on Adam's hands. All right, very good.
So there's
Nick.
this.
Why'd you take a DNA test?
We already covered this.
We already covered this.
All right. Okay. So I apologize. What did you think you were going to find in terms of where you were from? For me, it was incredibly boring. It was all Germany and Ireland. That was it. Or UK, Germany, and Ireland. That was it. All of it. That's it.
Yeah.
Not anything else. There was just a dot somewhere else. And the vast majority of it was Ireland. And then there was some. It's funny, my last name's German, but there was a ton in Ireland, a little bit there in the UK, and barely anything in Germany, which is very sad for me.
So let's start with that. Obviously, with the last name like Jamali, he's got to be Italian, right?
And there are 6 ancestral regions listed in Nick Jamali's DNA profile. Would you care to try and list them?
I'm more interested in what Nicholas thought when he was getting into this. What had you been told growing up?
Well, initially, I thought, and I was always told when I was growing up, that I was Italian and parts Irish.
Okay, so when your Italian heritage, we would love to have your dad on it sometime. Unfortunately, it's not possible at this moment. But we love your dad so much, and this isn't we can't not have him on. We're gonna have him on. It's not because they're
Estranged, Nicholas. Our relationship is estranged. Nicholas. What is this wall between us? Why are we estranged?
You won't pick up the phone, and I won't pick up the phone neither.
What's going on? Someone's got to be the bigger man.
Oh, my God.
Nicholas.
That's not why, though. Nicholas actually talked. That's not why. That's not why. Nicholas talked to his father. We were all set to have him on, and then Belichick happened.
Yeah, it's a great dramatic reconstruction of it.
Yes.
So it's a new line that gets sprinkled in. Someone's got to be the bigger.
Someone's got to grow up. What would Jesus do, Nicholas?
He's found religion.
All right, so but this is interesting to me because this is a good setup. So when you were growing up, your father obviously lives in the North End.
Yes.
And he makes meatballs for St. Anthony's Feast, right?
Yes.
And so
all
he's
the
like,
meatballs.
Yeah, he's super involved in like all the Italian like goings on in the North End. That's why he lives in the North End, right?
Exactly why.
And so when you were growing up, your father, like if that was a part of your, like when I was growing up, now my nationality was a part of nothing. Like when I moved to Boston, I was actually, wow, Irish people like care that they're from Ireland. I swear to God, it was that, I never realized. Because my parents never made any big deal about where we were from. I kind of wish they did. It would be nice to have some idea of where I was from, considering it's one place. But you, Nicholas, it was a big part of your heritage.
Yeah, it was a huge part. That's
like,
all.
Can you give us some things like growing up that your dad told you or that like you guys did as a family?
We just spent a lot of time in the North End and like going out to get pizza and like all the Italian restaurants.
Would your father be like, this is real Italian?
Yeah.
Would he be like stuff like that? Like not over there.
This is
Nicholas,
the right way to make.
Dad's not real Italian.
This is the right way to make like meatballs and sauce and all that.
Listen
stuff.
up. If you don't listen, now we'll be estranged later.
This is your grandma's
I don't talk
recipe.
to him no more because he went to Sbarro for a slice.
Nicholas, that's not real pizza.
All right.
So where do you think Italy ranks among these 6 ancestral regions for Nick Jamali?
Let's play the game. I would assume, since his last name is Jamali, and his father, and I love his father, we all do, and Nick loves his father, that his father living in the North End, spending his retirement, basically with all his activities revolving around his Italian heritage, I would guess that Nicholas is at least 75% Italian.
My dad can call in, by the way.
Oh, have him call in.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, please get Nicholas's dad on the phone. He's going to be calling in post-haste.
Believe it or not, Italy ranks 4th with
my gosh.
13%.
Whoa.
Okay, when your
He's
dad hears this
13%
information,
Italian.
how's he going to take it?
Oh God, he'll take it hard. He'll take it hard. I think. I hope. Unless it was like.
Well, I don't want to get him sick or nothing. It's not going to like blow his mind.
It's just like it just feels like a big lie, you know. When I was growing up,
because It is something like when you are raised as like this is our ethnicity. I can't.
Ethnicity.
Thank you. Ethnicity. Yes. I see words in my head. I can't say them.
Yes.
It's not a word I say a lot. Ethnicity, because I don't see color. Ethnicity. When that's like such a part of your life, and just for me, it was nothing. We were Stofers. Like we were a Stofers family. We were a lame. We were just lame Midwestern Americans. That's what we were. There was nothing. But you grew up in such an Italian household. You would call it an Italian household, right?
Yes.
But yet, just like 90% of you is not from there.
Right.
Way more goes to at least 2 other regions of the world, 2 other countries. Would you care to name those 2 other countries?
Well, he said Ireland, and since he's third generation Bostonian, Ireland is definitely in there.
That is correct. Woo! Okay, so, but second to Ireland, before you get anywhere close to Italy, where is
Poland?
That is incorrect.
UK
is up there, but France.
Whoa!
Nicholas.
Nick, I was just at the homeland, man.
Oh, man.
You could have given him some tips.
Nick is more French than Italian and way more Irish. Way more Irish than anything else.
You've treated France like John has treated his Judaism. You've turned your back on it.
I guess so.
52% Irish, and then the other countries making up smaller portions are France, England and Northwestern Europe, Southern Italy, 10%, Scotland, 7%.
Oh, Southern Italy is 10%. So he's 19. So he's 23%.
No. I'm sorry. 13% was for England and Northwestern Europe. 10% Southern Italy and Eastern Mediterranean. 7% Scotland. 5% Spain.
Oh, so you're only 10%.
10%
Italian.
Yeah.
All right. I believe his father is on the phone now.
Oh, wow.
I believe that
Here we go.
Yeah, we're working on it now. It's very hard to get people on the phone around here.
Oh, that seems like it would be easier.
It's a series of numbers that have to be dialed in perfect order, or else they cannot be gotten. But all right,
there are many personality traits we'll get to later.
Mr. Jamali.
Good morning, gentlemen.
You sound great.
I feel great.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I can't be more excited to talk to you. I've missed you so much.
Oh, I've missed you too, Fred. I really have.
I hope you're listening to the show still.
Every day, Fred. Every day I listen.
Well, that makes me very happy because obviously I have a great love for you. And your son Nicholas is here. And, he's doing great. He's doing great work over here. He's never been better. He's in charge of making our videos and all our online presence, which has become a big part of the whole company. So your son's got a job is getting more and more important every day. I want you to know that. He's doing very well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You've raised a wonderful boy, and that is the truth. All right, so here we go. There was a DNA test.
Yes.
Given in nothing bad. You are his father.
Yeah.
You are his father.
Yeah.
But the deal is this, is that if you had to guess what percentage of Nicholas is Italian, what would you guess? I don't know if you've heard this already because you were listening.
What percentage of Nick is Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to say 100%.
I'm really sorry.
But I know that's not true.
No.
I know that's not true.
Okay, if it's not 100%, what would you guess?
I would say he would probably have 50% Irish.
Oh,
in him.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, 52% Irish, but then there's quite a bit of French DNA along with England and Northwestern Europe, 10% Italian, 7% Scottish, and 5% of Nick comes from Spain, according to his DNA test.
But wait a minute. 10%?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Jamali.
He's crushed.
Wow.
The good 10%, and it's all from you.
That's right.
Yeah. Jeez.
Nick, talk to your father.
Used to say, "What's the matter for you? Why are you talking? What's the matter for you?" I go, "Ma, why do you talk that way? You're from Ireland."
I feel like, Dad, you knew about this and you just lied to me all my childhood. Is that true?
No.
Nicholas,
No.
how would you do
We
that?
never knew where we were from, Nick. Nobody spoke English.
Was there Gaelic being spoken in the household as well?
A little Gaelic, a little bit. There was a lot of drinking going on.
That's right. Now, if we can pivot here, are you when you were at home? I've heard that you were down to 2 recliners.
That's right. Gee, Fred, yeah.
I keep track of you. Believe me, I ask about you all the time. So you were down to 2 recliners. You had 3, and I hear the one that you don't have anymore was the one that you got from us.
Oh, man.
Oh, from Bernie and Phil's. That's right.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
That was good. You know who asked after you, and I'm not kidding, is Saugus' own porn star, Tyler Faith, who you kissed.
I love Tyler. She's a great gal.
You know, she is very open because we do talk about from time to time. She was going to come in and do something with us. She is open to seeing you again.
I would love that. I would love that.
Nick, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get around to it.
All right,
absolutely.
You would like to see her? Would that make you feel good, Mr. Jamali?
Oh, boy, it would make me 20 years younger.
All right. Well,
His heart is going to seize.
No, he'll be fine.
What if it made him happy?
Almost that night.
I'm not saying he's going to have sex with her. She's
nice way to go, Nick.
Yeah, really. Exactly. Your father might want to go that way.
Yeah. Gee, come on,
she's
Nick.
enormous breasts.
Well, I'm sorry I'm being a buzzkill, but sure, we can make that.
All right. Well, Nicholas, she has enormous breasts.
She does.
You like that,
does.
Mr. Gemelli? That's nice, right?
She does.
Yeah, you've been keeping tabs on her.
Oh, she's a beautiful girl.
Yes.
God love videos. I'm telling you.
Is there a particular title that you enjoy more than another?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, anything that says Tyler Faith on it.
Right, because you can put yourself in the position of the man in that video because you've kissed her.
Yes, I can. Wow.
That's right. All right. So I know that there have you've been up and down a little bit, but you sound really good to me.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Hey, at my age, look at your parents on a cruise, for God's sakes, Fred.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic that people can do that at that age. It's
right.
just fantastic.
Well, listen,
So, every day I get up, I wake up, I say thank God, and I'm looking forward to the day.
It's really good to hear you it's sounding so good and sounding so energetic. And Fred and I and Nick, we all ask about you a lot. So it's really good to hear you. And I'm so glad you could call in, Mr. Jamali.
I appreciate that.
And Mr. Jamali, when you're up for it, we would love to have you in. And if you would like Tyler Faith here, I can make that happen. Please let us know when you're up to it. I would love to see you. I would love to see you, even if we could bring Tyler Faith to you. I would love. I would be a part of that. Thank you so much, Mr. Jamali. Your voice is magic to my ears. Be well and don't be a stranger, please. Let's talk soon.
I love you guys. I listen to you every day.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Jamali, thank you so much. There you go. The great Mr. Jamali, whose first name I've forgotten. But,
Mark Jamali.
That's right.
Mark.
I don't know why I forgot it.
Mark Jamali.
My name's Mark.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah, that was nice.
Did you see I pumped you up to him?
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
As a parent, you know how much that and you'll get there, Nick. Your kid's too young, but when your kids grow up a little bit,
Nick is just an excuse now.
No.
Just a built-in excuse.
Little Luigi is an excuse, but
it's an excuse to drink.
As they grow and other people compliment your kids, it's a very warming feeling.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. All right. Well, Nick, look, let's save your traits for another day.
Yeah.
I was so overjoyed to have your father. It really bugs you that Tyler Faith in him, huh?
I mean,
he looks at her porn.
I know. Yes. Yes.
Would it bother you, Fred?
You might as well just say, would it bother me if my dad went to Pluto? The idea of my dad watching pornography is just insane. When he said that he liked that Lily Dunn or whatever the hell her name is, Livy Dunn.
Livy Dunn.
It was so weird that even my kids were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like I've never heard him talk about a female. I've seen him kiss my mom on the lips once. My dad is the most non-sexual human being that's ever walked the earth. When I say, "Why am I an only child? Was there a problem with anyone's fertility?" They're like, "No." So I think it was just that I was
sex once.
Yeah, I think that like my mom got pregnant, and then that was kind of it. I truly believe that. Like my dad was busy, and just that was that. If my dad told me he watched porn, would it bother me? Not at all. It would be like, oh wow, you're a human being. That's exactly how it would feel.
I think it bothers Nick a little bit, so we shouldn't bring it up anymore.
She made out with my dad.
Yeah. Tyler Faith, who's got the big bosom.
Yeah, that was a
big
banner
boobs.
night that night.
Yeah,
That was
big
something
boobs.
else.
She's doing MILF work now, MILF porn.
She is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You follow her on Instagram? You keeping up to date with Tyler Faith, August's
I
own?
think I do follow her on the Instagram. Yes.
Yeah. No, she's something.
She is.
And she's always willing to come into the station if she's in town. She travels an awful lot.
You have that relationship with her. You can.
I haven't seen Tyler Faith since that party. So I have not seen Tyler Faith Tyler Faith for how many years was that, Nick?
That was 2019.
Yeah, so I haven't seen Tyler Faith in 6 years. And I don't talk to her on the phone or anything. But
you've kept in touch social media.
Well, I'm friends with her. I follow her. We follow each other on Instagram.
Right.
And when there is an opportunity where we think we might bring her in, I do have her number that I can text her. I know her real. Let's just say I know her real name.
Oh, okay.
I don't know her last name, but I know her real first name.
Sure.
And it's none of your effing business. I see what you're doing here is you're trying to drag it out of me so you can be some kind of stalker. Tyler, I apologize.
Amazing, Fred, how you were able to deduce that.
Do you see what he does?
Yeah.
What did I do now?
It's really low class.
What did I do?
And then he feigns like he didn't do anything. All right, Nick. Was it nice to hear your father?
It was great to hear my dad. Yeah.
You liked how that went?
Yes. Besides knowing his, search history.
That in a way, that's got to make you feel good that he's still like he's still like a man.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It should. It really should. I'm not kidding. You should be. That shouldn't upset you that much. Now, him and Tyler Faith in a room together will be magical. Shall it happen? But that's up to you, Nicholas. I'm not going to jeopardize this tenuous relationship you have any further. All right.
All right.
All right, Nicholas. Thank you. And then, you know what, next
notion that we could get her and Mark Jamali together again. That'd be
absolutely.
great.
Everyone should follow Tyler Faith on Instagram.
Party 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Men.
obviously I'm at, 65 innings or something like that. So right now, and at this point last year, I was at like 25, 20, 27, 30, something like that.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Baseball is at an absolute crisis point. That is Paul Skeens, pitcher of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they're limiting his innings. And the deal is that he's got at least 4 years of team control left, and there's talk in Major League circles about the fact that the Pirates should trade him now because they will get the biggest return from him. And when you think of this, it's insane. The Pirates aren't some garbage organization. And sure, this is on the owner. A lot of this is on the owner being cheap. But any way you slice it, Major League Baseball's got a problem. If it's the owner's fault, then Major League Baseball has to get another owner in Pittsburgh. That's the deal. But there is a huge, huge, huge problem with Major League Baseball that is going to lead to a huge lockout. But there is still some debate if the league is going to demand a salary cap. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Paul Skeens is the biggest example. I'm not making this up. I've read numerous insiders talking about teams are inquiring already about Paul Skeens. It's his second year. When you have a team, if you drafted, imagine if Jaden Daniels this season, Washington was like, oh, we got to trade him because we'll get a bunch of picks back for him. And then when we take those picks, if any of them hit, we'll have to trade them too. So basically, we're telling an entire city and region, we're never going to be good. Well, that's Pittsburgh. Who cares? Well, that's the problem, is that I'm going to read you a top 20 free agents. There's very few good ones. Kyle Tucker's a huge one.
Yeah.
He's on the Cubs. He could make $600 million.
Yeah.
I will be shocked. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams named to be in contention. I'll give you a hint. Red Sox aren't one.
Okay. Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Philadelphia.
It's Cubs, Phillies, Yankees, Dodgers. But you're in the right. The Mets probably are going to be in on them.
Yeah. Well,
they just aren't right now. But they got Soto.
$760 on Soto.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if they're going to pay 12.
Fair enough.
They're going to pay $1 billion.
But Dodgers and Yankees.
Yeah,
are
Dodgers
easy.
because why not?
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
another one.
It's ludicrous. It's insane. What is the point of having a league where only 5 teams can compete? Well, Fred, what happened last year is that in the playoffs, whatever. Like, sure, there's like an anomaly here or there, but it's so top loaded that it's nuts. You can win your division, but unless you're Philadelphia, the Mets, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Giants, and in some cases the Red Sox, you're out.
And that's more along the lines where the problems lie. It's not the bottom portion of Major League Baseball and the owners that are in charge of the Kansas City Royals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. It has everything to do with the owners of those teams, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Mets. They don't care about the rules that penalize their spending above a certain level. That's what brings it back to a salary cap. That's more to punish, keep those people from outspending everyone by a wild margin. And at the same time, there's talk of instituting a salary floor to make sure that the other people like Pittsburgh and Kansas City spend up to a certain level.
So let's take the finances out of it. One of the big reasons the NFL is as successful as it is that Green Bay has got a shot of winning the Super Bowl this year. They have a shot of winning that division. They absolutely do. And if they win that division, that means they're one of the best teams in football, and that means they have a chance to win. In baseball, the Brewers, they can't compete with any free agents. If they happen to luck into – what is the story with these teams? Look at Baltimore, where it was supposed to happen. You trade a bunch of guys, you get a bunch of picks, you hit on those picks, and then you have 1 or 2 seasons where you can make a deal at the trade deadline for a good player with no term left, and then you, if you don't win the World Series that year, you're screwed. Well, what about Arizona and Texas? Well, it's not like Texas is some small market, and Arizona was a fluke, and that was a nothing World Series.
And we'll see if they make it back. That's the thing. Kansas City won 1 year. What happened after that?
And then you have to completely get rid of the whole organization. What is the NBA trying to do right now? The NBA is trying to create what? Parity.
Parity, yes.
The NBA is creating these tax aprons so you can't have these dynasty teams and you can't have these players putting together these super teams because it's not interesting. It's bad. Baseball has enough problems, and they've solved some of them. The game's quicker. They have real stars. Ohtani is a superstar that transcends the sport. They have it. They have guys. Paul Skeens is my son and his friends were all running around. This Paul Skeens card is worth all this money. Paul Skeens, Paul Skeens, Paul Skeens. My son and his friends would stop. If Paul Skeens was on TV, my son and his friends that don't play baseball, would watch Paul Skeens. They all know who he is. And if you're in Pittsburgh, maybe you buy a ticket to see Paul Skeens. But why would I? If I know he's going to be gone before we can win anything, and you know who's pissed off? Paul Skeens. He's starting to badmouth the organization because they're so bad. You know, he gives up 2 runs in a game, they might lose. I mean, he's screwed. And they got to protect him because they can't keep him because they got nothing to play for.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has 2 guys, and unfortunately, both are going to leave before they're 26.
I mean, you get a team like St. Louis, and they bring in Chaim Bloom, who's going to be the general manager next year, and now they happen to be winning right now. But, you know, they go, name a player on St. Louis. I know John can, but, I mean, most of you can't. They're all kids. I mean, they have Sonny Gray and Mike Michaelis, but, I mean, they have pitchers that are veterans.
Ryan Helsley.
Well, Ryan Helsley is an all-star.
On his way out, though, he very well could be traded before the deadline.
Well, they didn't trade him. You know why? You know what the Cardinals did this offseason? Literally did this offseason? They did nothing.
Right.
They literally did not make one move in the offseason.
We're going to let the cheaper kids play.
They let Goldschmidt go. They tried to trade Arenado, but they couldn't. But other than losing people in free agency, they did not acquire one player.
But that gets back to the problem of the smaller market team. And Pittsburgh, by the way, is run by another former Red Sox GM, Ben Cherington. So it's a problem.
You could have Epstein in his prime, and he wouldn't be able to do anything with that organization because that dumb owner.
That brings it back to, for those of us who love watching baseball, in about a year and a half, we're not going to have it. That's the problem. And you talked about the luxury tax penalties for the NBA. Major League Baseball tried something like this. They have 3 aprons, including the super secret 3rd apron to stop maniac guys like Cohen. They don't care. Those rich people do not care.
Okay, and
the
then
only way to make them care is to put a salary cap on top of this and make it a hard cap.
Okay, so then you go, well, the Mets didn't win anything, and Cohen and the Mets are good this year, but they're not in first place. But what if the Mets don't win the World Series this year? Well, all right, it keeps these players from going to another team. Like, if you have all the stars in 2 parts of the country, the Northeast and the in Southern California, there's other people living in other places that have to enjoy the sport for the sport to thrive. The regional deals in baseball are garbage because no one cares. These mid-market teams can't draw anyone to the stadiums because why would you go? Because even if you're good, you're screwed. Baltimore, because their kids can't play, are completely hamstrung and have to fire their manager. Yeah, it's a joke, and the arguments against it are asinine, and they're by people that are fans of super teams that just don't get it.
By the way,
it's very frustrating.
Baltimore, another team that did nothing during the summer.
They did nothing.
They had a good look at them this weekend at Fenway. They did nothing.
I'm going on Sunday.
They would never say it, but I think Major League Baseball is still depending on this antiquated notion of people just enjoying the game as it is, and your team doesn't necessarily have to win the pennant. They don't have to go to the World Series. There's still this notion that remains that it's a pastime, and you should just enjoy 100 games a year, and win or lose, it's just, it's about the game. It's not necessarily about the win. And that's just not the way the culture is anymore.
Think about a band and how much money they playing Fenway. All right, 30,000 seats. Say I'm playing a stadium, 40,000 seat stadium. You're talking multi-million dollars. They're asking people to do that 81 times a year. People aren't going to go enjoy a Sunday afternoon game 81 times in a year.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get 40,000, 35,000, 30,000 people out on a Monday night.
Yeah, it's one thing to ask you to watch 100 times, but if they want you to go, even like a casual fan outside of the season ticket holders,
That's the
take in 10, 12 games during the season. People aren't going to do it.
And that's a huge commitment, too.
Casual fan is what Major League Baseball desperately needs.
Well, not only that, John, but they're losing fans in their own cities that used to go to games.
That's the part of the problem is for just a casual fan, it's nice to say, you know what, let's start the kids, watch them grow up, watch them grow together. It takes too long for the casual fan to get on board with this. Casual fans
You can't keep them, though,
big
John.
Stars. No, I understand.
But you also can't keep them. And by the way, the Tampa Bay, there's an excuse, but this whole athletic situation is an absolute.
Yeah.
They let an owner tank a heritage franchise, a big time franchise,
more than 1 year.
Take that franchise, and now they're playing in effing Sacramento in a garbage minor league park. That's like the Lions playing at North Farmington High School. It's ridiculous. It's no other league would do that. No other league would do that. The NHL would at least had a place for Utah to play.
Other leagues
with stands.
Other leagues are actively changing their policies and their structures and everything to make sure it doesn't happen.
When Arizona screwed around and played in that joke college gym or rink,
Yeah.
Arizona don't got a team anymore.
Yep. I can only think about the NFL. I can only think of one instance where an NFL team had to play in like a college facility. I mean, the Bears renovated Soldier Field, so the Bears had to play at the University of Illinois for a year.
Anything that hasn't happened in the last 15 years is might as well be another world.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I guarantee you they didn't play at a place with like a tenth of the capacity.
No.
So that's nonsense. Asking major league players to go schlep it to a AAA park in some third-rate town. Well done, Major League Baseball. I hope they don't play for 5 years. Get this right. Hardline it, baby. All right, we'll be right back.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox tried and failed to complete a 3-game sweep of the New York Mets. They lost last night at Fenway Park 5-1. Brett Beatty, a key 2-run single and 3 RBIs for the winners. Red Sox are back below 500. Lucas Giolito will pitch against Baltimore at Fenway Park tonight, weather permitting. At the NBA playoffs, Indiana came back from down 14 with under 3 minutes left in regulation. They beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden 138-135 in overtime in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City voted the NBA's MVP. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the balloting. And in football news, Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died yesterday at the age of 65. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Rodenheiser's full-service remodel teams of skilled carpenters, painters, plumbers, and electricians are ready for your remodeling project. Schedule your consultation today at Rodenheiser.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
How will you stand out in today's competitive business world? Stonehill College's MBA program prepared.
up. So I said, you know what? I can do 12:20. I can be home by 2:15. There'll be nobody on the golf course. And when the kids are getting home from school, you have other stuff to do. I'll be home.
You know what I was doing at 2:15? I was sitting in traffic, far from home.
What'd you do before 2:15? You went home and slept.
I got 45 minutes of sleep.
Okay, well, that's 45 minutes than I got yesterday, more, because I'm out doing things. I'm living a life!
That's right. I was
Part of living my life yesterday, though, was me realizing I'm starving. It's now almost noon. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm going to stop. I haven't done this in a long, long time. But on the way to the golf course, there's a 7-Eleven. Okay. I'm thinking if I get to the golf course, maybe I can just grab, they call them turn dogs. You just grab a hot dog at the turn.
No,
right?
you didn't.
Oh,
you didn't.
Boys, it gets so much worse.
Oh, man.
I may not even have time, but there's a 7-Eleven right here. I can run in. I can get a 7-Eleven hot dog and just eat it on the way to the golf course, and that way I'll be ready to go when I get there. I go inside. I grab the quarter-pound Big Bite dog, right? Thank you very much. Do you want any condiments on it? No, thank you. No, thank you. Just put it in the box. I'll take it with me, right?
Yeah.
I go out to my truck, which is still running, so I'm in a hurry. As I'm getting into my truck, the hot dog, the portion of the dog, slips out of the box and lands in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
The bun stayed in the box.
Yeah.
You stepped in.
The dog
No, you didn't.
fell onto the parking lot.
You did not do what I think you're about to do.
I quickly assessed the situation.
Oh. Oh, Jesus.
Step in.
You didn't.
I picked it up real quick.
No!
Oh, it's hot.
Oh, there's no
That
5-second rule.
That means it's safe.
No.
I get into my truck, and I'm looking to see if anyone in the 7-Eleven can see me. I feel that it's safe, but just to be on the safe side.
So those Keno guys that are standing around 7-Eleven counters can be quite judgy.
As I'm pulling into the parking lot, I grab a stack of napkins, which we all carry in our car.
Yep.
I wiped off the still steaming hot quarter-pound Big Bite dog. I wipe it off real good. I wipe it real good. I wiped it off real good. I put it back in the bun, and I ate it.
God.
The part of that story that is the grossest is that you bought that hot dog. Now, hot dogs, by proportion, the bigger they get, the grosser they are. And that's a pretty good way to look at things. Like, if a hot dog is ever sold as being large.
Let me tell you something. Didn't taste great. It was too meaty or something. There's something off about it.
The Braves used to have that because the stupid Hicks in Georgia, they used to be like, oh, we got like a 5-pound dog or whatever, like a quarter-pound dog. And he's like, well, no, if I want multiple hot dogs, I can eat that. I don't need a big, thick piece of processed meat that's so gross.
Right.
And they're never as hot in the middle as they are on the ends.
This thing was hot, and I felt safe eating it. And let me tell you something.
You weren't going to get sick. It's just so gross.
I kept waiting for a crunch, as some of the asphalt may have, embedded itself into the dog. But the casing, John, the casing is very strong.
Okay, yeah. It's
So,
industrial strength, I would
wiping
imagine.
that thing off, I think, was a totally acceptable thing to do. I'm not proud, but I was very hungry.
No, I'd eat something off the pavement.
You would?
Yeah. But I wouldn't eat that hot dog.
You wouldn't?
No, the pavement is not the worst part of that story. I swear to God. Like, even when I was a drunk college kid, there was a 7-Eleven that was open 24 hours a day, and we would get nachos and Cuban sandwiches from there, but none of us ever got one of those roller hot dogs. You cannot buy a hot dog off a roller.
There were two guys in there with me who were getting pizza, and I thought, I should have gotten the pizza.
Yeah, the pizza, because pizza, it's just gonna suck, but it's not gonna be gross.
Yeah,
like that thick hot dog. They're not supposed to be like that. That's not how they're supposed to be.
Well, it's a quarter-pound Big Bite, Fred.
The proportion of size to hot dog is the larger the hot dog, the grosser it is. Like a foot-long hot dog's never going to be good.
Here's
the
question.
A thick hot dog's never going to be good.
Here's the question. Did it stay with you the entire round?
No, it was fine.
Really?
The guy I was playing with, who is kind of gross, and we'll get like, he eats like Happy Meals, and he'll bring like chicken nuggets like in his pocket.
Oh, he's one of those guys. Yeah,
he'll nibble on those during the round. Even he was grossed out by it. I told him yesterday. I told no one else until just now.
That's disgusting.
I don't have a big problem with you if you wiped it off, because there's the only thing that would be on is like pebbles.
Yeah, I wiped them off.
And you think
It's
about
not, it's not like I dropped yogurt on the pavement.
No,
and tried to eat
you can't do that. But
No.
if you played, like if you're playing around the golf, the stuff that's getting in your mouth, like if you hit something out of the sand, I bet you there's more sand that gets in your mouth from that
Totally.
than there is from the hot dog. No,
Thanks for backing me up, except for the hot dog part.
No, the hot. I don't know. Out of all the things in that store, like it would never even occur to me. I've gone into gas stations and 7-Elevens when I've been in traffic for 5 hours, like hungry, and like I'll go because chips doesn't satisfy that, so I'll get like jerky or something.
Yeah.
It's even like the Mexican things they have, the
taquitos.
Taquitos are fine. It's just the hot dog on a roller. It's like the Seinfeld. No, it's perfectly fine.
I won't be doing it again anytime soon.
You're like Kramer eating that hot dog at the movie theater. Disgusting.
It's a perfectly sane food to eat.
That's a great episode. All right, we'll be back. Michael Felger joining us. How exciting. We'll do that in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way. Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The New York Mets avoided a 3-game sweep by beating the Red Sox last night 5-1 at Fenway Park. Brett Beatty drove in 3 runs for the winners, and that includes a tie-breaking 2-run single in the top of the 7th inning. Garrett Crochet allowed 1 run in 5 1/3 innings for the Red Sox, but Alex Cora surprisingly pulled him after just 85 pitches.
They did a good job. It was one of those days that we circle up that we're going to be short. They put some good at-bats early on, fouled out some pitches. The pitcher got up in the first inning, but after that, he was efficient and gave us enough.
Sox are now 1 game under 500. They continue their homestand against Baltimore tonight. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA was last night, and the New York Knicks blew a 14-point lead with under 3 minutes left and lost in overtime to the Pacers on their own home floor, 138-135 in overtime. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander voted the league MVP for the first time last night. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the balloting. And in NFL news, Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died yesterday at the age of 65. And the Green Bay Packers measure to ban the Philadelphia Eagles' tush push failed to pass yesterday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
You said you wanted to hear more music in the morning.
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
I am not too afraid to admit that I have saved that pathetic television program of yours. You suck on 8 levels of life.
That's not nice.
Nah.
That was not fair to Hardy.
Hey,
or
we got
Felger.
past that. Come on.
One of the funnier moments in the history of the show.
Well, it's not this show.
No, just that show.
This is my wedding song. This is the song that we danced to.
Are you
at
serious?
my wedding, yeah.
I just picked a random Skank and Pickle song because I figured we're talking about pickleball and you like Skank and Pickle.
Yeah,
and ska,
the
but-
Toasters played this song. This was the song we danced to, and I actually my ex and I went to a dance studio and learned how to dance to this song.
I did the same for my wedding, but to a different song. This is
What was
Special
the song
Brew.
you did?
Special Brew. It was All the Way, Jimmy Scott.
All right, just 2-second
Yes,
story.
yeah.
The guy used to work with Wally, who's now like the king of Christian radio. He's like this king of Christian radio. He got married. He was this big hair metal guy, but a Christian hair metal guy. He sang on the altar "Love of a Lifetime" by Firehouse.
That's a good idea.
Whoa. Wow.
It's fantastic.
Oh, that's
it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. He had a video of it, and he showed it. To his credit. All right. So, Hardy, what is going on? Why are you and Felger such a dynamic team? What is happening?
We're about to find out. Second annual Pickleball for a Purpose with Rob Gronkowski. It's a week from last night, May 28th. Bossy premiere Pickleball, 5 to 8 p.m., benefiting the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund, Gronk Nation Youth Foundation. If you raise enough money, you can play against Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman as partners in this. We have been asked to participate. They asked me, Hardy, would you like to play against Rob Gronkowski and Julian Edelman? I said, sure. Said, you need a partner? I said, yeah. They said, we'll hook you up with a pro. And, well, that kind of fell through. So I said, you know what? I've talked with Michael Felger about pickleball. He seems to be a real pickler. He seems like, he could be my pickle pal for this thing. And I asked...
I'm sure he loves the way you're phrasing all of this.
Yeah. So
with fun alliteration.
I got in touch with Mike, and he's on the phone with us now. Michael Felger, thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Thank you for joining us. And first off, let me say thanks to both of you. That's very nice of you both to participate in this charity event.
Yes, and thank you for continuing to play that sound of Hardy killing me a couple of years ago. It's very nice to keep hearing that.
I swear to God, and Hardy will back me up.
Yes.
I had no idea they were going to play that.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Well, it's a good lesson. It's a lesson. It's one of the lessons I've learned along the way that I'm not capable of busting balls. It's just it's not that thing from a couple of years ago. When was that? 10 years ago?
I think it was 10 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. So Hardy was filling in because we were late. He was talking about auto racing, and I thought to bust his balls about talking about auto racing. I didn't really care. I wasn't really mad, but it comes off just the wrong way. No one takes it right, and I'm just not the guy that can bust balls on a friendly little level. I'm just not that guy. It never lands right. And that was a prime example.
So you're too well adjusted in order to get skilled at that. You have to have this incredible inferiority complex that requires generations of honing in order to properly do it. So just your sanity is a foe in that, Felger.
Something there's something wrong with me that just can't get to that level that can have people take it in a friendly manner in which I intend. So I just don't do it.
Well, I described this because we were talking about it a couple of days ago, and to 12's credit, I think he just played it because we were just talking about it a couple of days ago. I said I was in show mode, and you get in show mode. We all get in show mode. And you came in, you were not in show mode. You were driving over from Fenway Park back to the radio station in Brighton, and you come in and you start busting balls, but you got me in show mode, and I'm like, oh no, now I have to go on the attack because I had just been arguing with Scott and Rentham about, several open wheel debates that we were having on the show in your absence. But no.
It's a me problem. Go ahead.
All right. So, look, I asked you, I called you up and sent you a text. And when we finally got to talking about this, you said to me, okay, Bobby, let's let's go ahead and play pickleball together, which I said, great. And I said to you, Mike, maybe we should get together and practice. I said, let's schedule time. And what did you say?
I don't think that's a good idea.
So, okay. Now, explain to me why.
But Chevy Chase, night putting, like I just think if you think too much, because I'm a mental case. If I think too much about it or try and prepare too much, I think there's diminishing returns. That's just for me personally. The more I play golf, Hardy, the worse I get, and I feel the same thing would happen here.
Okay. Now, my second question to you was, I said, fine, as long as you'll be ready, I'll be ready. I'm playing 3-4 times a week, have been for months. How many times have you played in the last month?
0.
Okay. Now, do you have any plans to play between now and next Wednesday?
Now that you're saying this, maybe I will this weekend.
Okay, Mike, I will ask you this question because this is a charity event. Nothing is really on the line. Do you care if you win or lose this thing?
Definitely care. Like anytime I play anything, I'm one of those guys too. Okay. I am kind of competitive.
Okay, so you do care. So if you guys go out there, because my theory on this is if I was playing in it, like I don't want to just go out there and look like I'm not trying because that's just being a dick. But, like, I wouldn't care if I won or lost at the thing. But you do. So, like, if you guys go out there and how do they score pickleball? I don't even know.
Games are to 11.
Okay, and so say you lose, like, 11-5. Like, now, to me, I would be like, we won 5 points, whatever. It's over.
No one got hurt. Everybody's happy.
Well, I'm not worried about getting hurt. You'd have to be a real loser to get hurt doing that.
No, but there is an issue which I will get to later.
Okay, but what will your attitude might be like if that happens? If you lose 11-5,
11-5 is a good. I'm glad you brought up that number. All right, Mike, what do you say? We end up losing 11-5.
It's right on the line. That anything worse than that, it would kind of ruin my day.
Yes.
I think about it.
I'm with you. Fred, you know me. I do care about women.
No, I know you.
Yes.
I'm very aware of you.
Okay.
It's a disease.
So let me just say, Hardy, quickly. So me not wanting to practice isn't about me not caring. It's I actually think I'll be better if I don't.
I just wish that were true.
Okay, I'm going to play Chevy Chase night putting. You know the reference that I'm talking about. It's like,
yeah, but he had played golf the day before,
and the guy that wrote that committed suicide.
But other than that, Felger, you're on spot.
I mean, it was shaky. It was it was in Hawaii off a cliff, and there's some questions, but there's believed to be a suicide.
I understand not cramming for the test, but maybe getting on the court once in the months prior to the actual event is not a bad idea.
No question. And Hardy, listen, I thought, and this is now I'm a little more concerned about the match. When you first said Gronkowski and Edelman, and as you know, anyone who's played pickleball there's a couple rules there that some guys can't seem to get. There's a delicate nature to it. You can't go in certain areas. You can't stand next to the net to pitch, and you can't return the volley of the serve, right?
Yes.
And in my mind's eye, Gronkowski's that guy that just couldn't figure out the rules. You know, he'd always go in the kitchen. He'd always try and smash that return of service, and we'd get him on the rules. Well, someone sent me a clip of him playing, and he knows the rules. And so we're not going to get him on football and going into the kitchen and things like that, which is I thought that would be our path to victory.
Maybe it was AI, though, because he's very dumb, and it cannot be guaranteed that he will remember those things.
But we always hear about Gronk. He's a football savant.
Yeah, I don't believe that for 2 seconds. But if Belichick was coaching him, that's two morons.
All right, Mike, are you at all concerned with both Gronkowski and Edelman knowing who you are specifically and personally and maybe targeting you as a result?
No. I don't know if Gronkowski knows who I am. He was on the team after I stopped covering him, so I wasn't in the locker room when he was there. Edelman does know me, kind of. He does know that Maz and I used to call him Mr. August when he first got on the team and had some good preseason games. We said, this guy sucks. He's not going to make it. He's Mr. August, the usual thing. So he did remember that. I saw him once at the Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and he brought that up. He wasn't malicious about it. But there could be a little something there. I don't know. I don't want to overestimate how much they know who we are and what we say.
Okay. So, I feel like this might be our one opportunity to talk a little strategy beforehand. And I'm just saying, I want you to be careful specifically because maybe Rob Gronkowski does remember the now infamous line, Gronkowski won't do it, which is,
oh God, yeah.
I mean, we all say things that are completely, totally wrong, but that was pithy. That had legs. The whole Gronkowski won't do it. That has lived on in infamy. So if he does remember that, I will do my best not to, return a meatball to Gronkowski while you're standing up at the net. I'm
sorry, Hardy. I think that's another pass. That if they are too bent out of shape, if they want to, send one into the side of my skull, that actually plays to our advantage. They get all because that's part of winning pickleball is let the other guy get delusions of grandeur, big eyes, and hit the ball out, smash it into the net. You see that all the time. So that might be another pass for us. Hopefully they do remember. Hopefully they do want to skull me.
Okay. As long as you're aware of it and you think we can turn it to our advantage, that's fine. I did last night in a pickup game purposely.
Oh Jesus!
You shush.
He's got all the time in the world. He's playing golf. He's playing pickleball. He's all over.
Yeah.
the
Once
place.
I got home and I did my family time, I ran out for a 4:30 pickle session at the Pickle Palace.
And after your 9 holes of
you
golf,
live the life of a retiree. You really have
golf and pickleball.
I got
back to back.
I got a lot of energy.
You have the life of a retiree.
Family time. You went home for 5 minutes.
I went up against a guy in my final.
I haven't had a weekend where I could do that.
Unbelievable.
In like 3 years.
Final pickup game of the night. There was a kid there. He was about 25 years old. He was 6'5", and I said, I want to go against that guy just to try out a couple of things. And I will say, the lob shots, the drops that are going to land on the back line, they're not going to work, Mike. We shouldn't even try it on Gronk's side of the court.
It was like Rucker Park, man, going out there, like, testing yourself out against the big guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think lob shots in that game are way too thin margin of error. You got to hit it perfectly against pretty much anyone. I don't ever go up top like that.
All right, we're very much in the weeds here with pickleball. By the way, Mike,
this is my chance, though. You understand? He doesn't want to practice.
But no one knows. Not everyone has the life of leisure of you two. That's it's. I love that you both have picked up a hobby. It's something that I need to do in my own life.
Well, you need to sleep for hours in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
How
I had a
can
real
you do that?
I had a real humdinger of a day yesterday.
You and Wallach going back to bed with your nightcaps on every day. Your life is getting away from you.
I was in Groton, Massachusetts for 7.5 hours yesterday. All right, listen, Mike, I agree with you. I like that you called Tony out for not knowing what the hell he was talking about. He made a claim that he knew how to play pickleball.
That was great.
He didn't even know the most basic of terminology. I don't know why he felt the need to say he did and then get defensive when you called him out.
Yeah.
But I have to say I'm Team Felger on that.
Yeah. At least Big Jim's like, F you, I don't play. That's enough.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Mike. Well, listen, I think it's great that both of you guys are doing that, and best of luck.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thanks
you
for
guys.
coming on.
Everybody out there, donate to Hardy's Twitter page and all that. Do that thing.
Okay, thank you.
Well done. You knew all the talking points.
You know what? We got him.
I'm joking.
I've got stuff pinned and on my stories there, wherever at Hardy985 on Instagram, at Hardy Radio on Twitter.
John, if you played, would you care if you won or not?
I would. It would be a point of pride. I wouldn't want to lose 11-0.
No.
No. If I lost to those guys, I wouldn't care.
I'll give you an example. Like, bands are cool if they go out. Like, I've seen bands where they've gone out and been like wasted, and it was like a lot of fun. And I've seen bands that have gone up and just deliberately not tried.
Yeah.
And like Das Racist on Conan O'Brien, like I think they were doing that because they were scared, and it was just easier not to try.
Yeah.
So there is that like half-assing it that I don't think you should do at a charity function or really anything. Like if you're playing something with someone, you should at least put forth an effort. But I would not care if I won or lost. I would feel nothing if I won, and I would feel nothing if I lost. I feel nothing except anxiety. That's the only emotion I feel.
Well, yeah,
that's the issue. I feel restlessness. I need to be doing things.
Yeah.
And this is
Well, I'm doing. It's not like I'm sitting home. I mean, I'm doing things. It's just, especially my
you're
son.
sitting in the bleachers. You're sitting in a
I was
car
standing.
seat.
There were no bleachers. Way to go, Groton. Hi. You've been around since 1700, but you can't build bleachers for the baseball field.
You're sitting in your standing more than anything, and you need
That is
more,
absolutely true.
You need more doing.
That's absolutely true. There's just when. You know what, man? I was texting with my ex-wife today. I don't know a weekend in June or July that I could do anything unless we split the time. It's too much. There's a lot going on. It's too much. Well, listen, I think it's great that you're doing it. I think it's great that you picked up pickleball. You know I believe that.
Yeah, well, I am nervous.
John's over here. He's got all the time in the world. He's not picking up any new hobbies.
Yeah, because your split squad parenting puts a real, a real drain on your time and resources.
Well,
And
also my
that.
ex has my ex has a office job, which requires if someone's going to go out, it will most likely be me.
So yeah, for you, I get it. But John, you could be doing the same thing I do. You could be out doing stuff every day before your kids are done with school.
Well, as soon as my kids are done with school, usually I am carting them to different things.
What about up until that point?
Up until that point, well,
you go night-night.
Unlike you, I want an hour and a half of sleep during the middle of the day. I need that.
Waste.
Shush. Stop talking. I'm just kidding. All right, very good. Well, we learned a lot about pickleball, and that's happening a week from yesterday.
Sure, not blowing my free time playing pickleball, Hardy. Sorry.
You know what? You got to film that for the Instagram.
Not
account.
happening.
You do.
Yeah. We'll get some footage.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Good. Okay. Good.
I bet you that's something that actually it's one of those stupid things.
It'll do great.
Yeah, and it's like so annoying because you wouldn't even think to do it because you're like, who would care? And then you put it up, and all of a sudden, like everyone's excited because they're all morons.
Video of you and Hardy on like Hardy's porch after the Super Bowl. And they did like 100,000.
It's like who the hell would think that you're supposed to do that? Yeah. It's so boring. It's Hardy and I standing on his porch, but yet we put something up from the show that's funny. No one cares. Me and Hardy are standing on his porch. There's 5 million views of it.
And you walking down the street talking about Bob Mould, like it's stupid.
Who the hell knows with this?
It makes
crap?
no sense.
It
But good news though, Fred, it's going to change in 6 months, so that'll be nice.
Why?
Figure it because that's how all that stuff works. Once people figure out how to game the social media algorithms, they change the algorithms so they can game.
I don't mind Instagram either. I like it. It's the only thing I'm still on, but so now it's up to everyone to ruin it for me. All right, we will be back in just a moment.
No, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
All right, it is Toucher and Hardy. Time for the emails. I've already replied to one of these because it was too good to ignore, and I didn't want it to get away from me. You ever see that, John? You get a great email, and you're like, oh, I'm really going to give this guy some time because it deserves something. But I didn't let this one get away. This came from Sam. He said, gentlemen, I would like to speak to you regarding a refund for airplane Wi-Fi purchased with the sole purpose of listening to today's show. I'm requesting this refund for 2 reasons. Number 1, where's the Jordan Hudson update? And number 2, the Nick Heritage segment had me laughing like a mental patient on the plane, and now people think I'm crazy. I will accept payment in the form of cashier's check or a picture of a foot stepping in a big bowl of mashed potatoes, which I sent back to Sam almost immediately. I sent him a photograph of a foot with mashed potatoes, and that has been sent. And I CC'd you on this too, Fred. So
Very good.
In your email now.
I got a funny one. We were talking to Jamali's dad, Mark Jamali, about when he kissed Saugus' own adult film star Tyler Faith, who has ginormous breasts.
Yes.
Steve says, hey, guys, just checking in. I wanted to be sure that you kids, especially Fred, because I said I know her real name.
Yeah, you were like, I know her real name.
Yeah, I was bragging. Says, especially Fred, that there's this new thing called the internet that makes it very easy to find the real name of someone who's famous. It took me 4 seconds to find out Tyler Faith's real name. It's Tyler Jamali.
That's right.
And that is from Steve.
Yes.
Well, that's her married name now.
If he's up to it, him and Tyler Faith in studio would be something to see.
Frequent emailer and show contributor Zach says, I'm curious to know about the workout mix that will soundtrack your pickleball training montage with Felger over the weekend. Obviously some turbocharged Dead and Gym Blossoms will be there, but what other songs will make the cut? If it were strictly 80s, I feel Taylor Dane and Cyndi Lauper would be perfect for you two, would really bring out the male bonding experience. With love, Zach. No, it doesn't sound like there's going to be any training session over the weekend. Felger is dead set against that.
Yeah.
Over-preparing.
This happens a lot. This guy's, some relative of his, this is the deal. He did the Nick DNA thing. So Nick, this could have gone way worse than just realizing that you're fake and Italian. Says, my dad's aunt and uncle had 4 boys. My dad's cousins. My dad and the cousins are in their 70s and 80s, and the aunt and uncle are long past. Their 4 cousins' kids bought the dad's DNA kits. When they did it, they discovered that the 3rd cousin was only 50% related to the others. They asked my dad's sister to do a DNA test to figure it out if she wasn't related to him or not, and she wasn't. So that meant that he had a different father. It was unsettling to everyone. Apparently that happens from time to time.
There was a really funny, it's going to take me too long to find it, so I'll just give you the quick summary, but a Twitter thread, this person was live tweeting. They did this at Christmas time too. And like this, she was like, the entire family was like, we're super Italian and all into their Italian heritage, and found out there was 0. And it was like it was like Christmas, and it was the whole family fighting with each other and screaming at each other about the fact that they'd lived a lie up until that point in time.
Interesting.
Did you guys have any kind of heritage growing up, like that, of like where your home country was, like where your family was from?
No.
Okay, so no, 0. But now I feel a little bit vindicated in that because my mom's friend did a comprehensive family tree, which was a nice thing for him to do because they're not married. It's just like, no, he's just one of these guys who loves to research things and went way back on specifically my dad's side of the family. And on my dad's side, which I know he was born in Virginia, the whole story of him in the log cabin, no running water, no electricity, doctor came on horseback, true, like hillbillies, Comer's Rock, Virginia. But the pool name goes back in Appalachia back into the 1700s.
Wow.
So it's way back there. I'm kind of
generations of inbreeding.
I'm kind of but I'm more like Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York. I'm a native. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been here a long time.
Right.
Appalachia.
I apologize. Squeal like a pig. This is where that came from.
Yeah, that's essentially the part of the country you're talking about.
Yeah, if you're an overweight actor, look out. because you're just a sexual object to be used.
Anything that was related to heritage or anything growing up was this kind of like strange country thing, which Detroit has this odd country vibe to it from all the people that moved up during the auto boom, came up from the South to work in the factories, almost 100 years ago now. So there is this Southern culture in Detroit, but that's where it started. That's where it came from. So I feel a little bit vindicated in A, not having some, European ethnic tradition in our house, but B, anything that was there was of this weird Southern variety. But it's authentic. It's real.
You and I experienced very different Detroits. There was no Southern Detroit with me. It was
it was mostly Arabic. I know
it was Arabic and Greek. It was there was not a lot of Southern is not the way I would describe it. It would be people that wouldn't be welcome in the South. Was what I grew up with. Thomas says, "Hey Fred, I heard you guys mention the Florida delicacy that is 7-Eleven Cuban sandwiches. While not the bourgeois clientele of the Fairbanks and Park Ave location, there used to be, that's funny. That's Rollins, Fairbanks and Park Ave. That's pretty cool. That's the 7-Eleven I used to go to in college. There used to be a 7-Eleven across from Perry's in Daytona, and we would crush 2 to 3 of those 7-Eleven Cuban sandwiches without blinking in high school and college. It's gross to think about it, but at the time, remarkable. Maybe the dumbest email ever. Anyways, thanks for guys, loyal listener for 10+ years. Yeah, they're not gross. They're actually not gross. And I don't like cheese on sandwiches, but I made the exception for those because it was too hard. First of all, you asked the guy at 7-Eleven not to have cheese. It's not like he's making it. I mean, let's be honest. That's
Don't do that.
That's like when you're at a sports bar and you ask, like, is there oil on the pasta? Like, okay. like Luigi's not in the back stirring the sauce, my friend.
Yeah.
This is prepackaged stuff. Don't stiff me because I will run out into the CNN Center while you're in line to get in the CNN tour and say that you stiffed me and you'll leave an embarrassment.
A lot of 7-Eleven love on emails. I have one here that says, my son is the pickiest eater ever, and he loves the 7-Eleven pizza. Don't fault Hardy. I, too, have dropped a 7-Eleven hot dog, picked it up, and eaten it. It was that good.
It's more of just the idea of eating the hot dog. Now, it is weird that kids love terrible food. Like they're all kids. Now you can, have them experience different cuisines, and I don't doubt that there's changes, but there are adults that keep that same. It's rare, but keep that same thing. Like they will only eat like chicken tenders, or they'll only eat stuff like chicken nuggets. Like that's like the only thing they'll eat. It's weird that kids are like that. I don't know what it is. If it's a texture thing or what the deal is, but
a lot of times
weird.
It's an exposure thing. It's are the parents exposing them to different
so now it's our fault. 12.
Yes, it's the parents'
Jesus,
fault.
12.
No, but texture is a big part of it, though, Fred.
No, but if you go to a grocery store with a kid, and when you're out at a restaurant, I mean, there's more than like chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese.
I'm going to push back on that anyway.
Go ahead.
Marcy makes dinner at least 4 nights a week. Last night, beautiful dinner. It was a family sit down. The chicken, the arugula salad, all this stuff. I finally got home from all the stuff that I was doing. I'm like, hey, remember me? And this is commonplace in our house. She'll do our version of Indian food or something like. So the kids are eating all this different stuff all the time. The second my wife is away, like she was last weekend, and I said to Calvin, I'm like, hey, your sister's out for the night. It's just me and you, buddy. We can have anything we want for dinner. What do you want? McDonald's.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's weird. Huh. And it's like specific stuff from McDonald's, and it's all the same. It's got to be like a texture thing. Because, I mean, my kids have been to the Bahamas and Florida, so it's not like they haven't been exposed to other
cultures. They've been all over the world.
Yeah, listen. My son goes to a effing prep school. Who are you to talk to me, Adam, about exposing them to things?
Exactly. Timothy says, Hardy, I called a few weeks back, told you I was going for my pipe fitter license test soon. Just wanted to share I passed first try with an 80. Officially an unrestricted licensed pipe fitter, LFG. I have no one in my life to brag to except for my wife, so I had to brag. That's Timothy Pizzarelli. Congratulations, Timothy.
Well, he should do a genetic test. He probably thinks he's all Italian, like Nick grew up thinking.
Yeah, and now he's going into the trades. Probably thinks he can build a hell of a stone wall and grow tomatoes and everything else just based on his last name.
Yeah, worships the Godfather, and look out, you ain't part of it, baby. Like you couldn't even be a made man, Nick. Even if you were in the mafia, you would be like Ray Liotta. You would have to just be on the outside, and you could never be a made man.
And he was half Italian. He was half Jewish, only the good half.
Yeah. Yep.
He wasn't, though.
Isn't that funny that Mark Jamali couldn't be a made man?
No.
Like if he was in the North End and someone wanted him, him and Tyler Faith to join the company.
I wonder if they've opened up the books on any of that stuff, like they have at certain other restrictive clubs over the years. It's like, you know what, guys, we're just
It's like Augusta.
This thing is dying. We really need to lighten the restrictions a little bit here.
Yeah,
tracing both sides of your family back to Sicily. This is
hard stuff. Like, I don't know if we can do this. The family is getting very small and very select in its ethnicity. Yes, exactly. Why even do the genetic test, they say. All right. Well, look, did you tell us? I was in the bathroom. I didn't know we were coming back. Did you tell people how they can email us and how they can get in contact with us?
No, you could do that now.
You can go to 985thesportshub.com to find all our emails. We do appreciate it. And you can follow us online, as many of you have been doing, at Toucher and Hardy on Twitter and Instagram, and at Fred Toucher, which is growing like hotcakes. Dan Roach just showed up at my son's game yesterday. Out in Groton. He drove all the way. I didn't ask him. I didn't know he was coming. He just showed up. He was a rock star there. Everyone saw him. They wanted to talk to him. They all know Danny Boy. They all knew Dan. And he was out there. And you can see a picture of us. Wouldn't that be reason enough?
All the octogenarians came over for autographs again?
2 guys who did not have kids at either school.
Right.
They said, we just live in the neighborhood. And one of them was wearing a mitt.
No.
And they were in their 80s, and they were like guys that obviously had jobs and everything. This wasn't like a situation. One wasn't with like a handler.
The winning streak continues for Danny.
I swear to God, I swear on everything under the sun, Dan will call in and confirm this.
Yeah.
2 old guys are just standing because there's no bleachers. I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but they don't have anywhere to sit. And so we're all standing around. There's 2 old. So Dan goes to talk to my son's coach because, he wanted to, it was nice. And then we're leaving the dugout, and these 2 old guys are sitting there, and they're like, Dan Roach. And they're like, hey. He's like, hey, great to meet you. And they go, hey, yeah, we don't have any kids that go here. We just live in the area and came to the game. And they go, one of them had a mitt on. And I go, oh, that's what Dan's going to be doing when he retires, just showing up to games. And Dan's like, yeah. And they're like, this is the first one we've ever been to. And I said, and you brought a mitt? What did you think was going to happen? Did you think they were going to call you to play left field? This is odd. But they were fans of Dan. And then Dan goes, this is Fred Toucher. You know him, right? And they go, yeah, of course. They didn't have zero idea.
No.
They had zero idea of who I was. But they knew Dan.
They were there to see Dan.
It's almost like Dan, and maybe they have never been to a game before, and that's true. And they sensed something was going on that made them walk over to the field.
Why would you wear the mitt? Is it a foul ball situation?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Weird.
I didn't want to blow up Dan's spot because they were fans of his, but I would be curious to know why the man was wearing a mitt. But that is absolutely 100% true. You asked.
Oh, man.
Because old people love Dan Roach. They just love it. They love him so much, which is exactly the demographic they're going for. So you can't lose Dan. That's for sure. All right. We will be back. We will finish things up with the stack in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox lost to the Mets at Fenway Park last night 5-1. Mets win. They avoid a 3-game sweep and set the Red Sox back below 500. Red Sox continue their homestand against Baltimore, weather permitting, at Fenway Park tonight. At the NBA playoffs, Indiana came back from down 14 with under 3 minutes left in regulation. They beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden 138-135 in overtime in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Another NBA news, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City was voted MVP for the first time in his career last night. Jason Tatum finished 4th in the voting. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay died in his sleep yesterday. He was 65 years old. And the Bruins' Jeremy Swayman will get the start in net for Team USA this morning when they face Finland. This is the quarterfinals of the Hockey World Championships over in Stockholm, Sweden. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Boston Vision. Make 2025 the year you ditch the glasses and contacts and start seeing 2020 with a LASIK procedure from the team at Boston Vision. Book a free evaluation today at bostonvision.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy. listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show?
Ready?
It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy.
I share NYPD Blue, despite all of our differences,
Yep.
Wallach, and there are many.
NYPD Blue.
We share that.
Yep.
John is a big 10 o'clock network television fan. Like any hour-long 10 o'clock show.
And then he's got Lifetime channel just on.
Well, that's not his
constantly
fault.
as a
That's on
drone in his
constantly.
house.
I got
But it's
nothing
got
to
to
do with
influence and affect the way you think about things.
Oh, he knows a lot about it.
It's a beating. It is.
There's worse things in the world than that. There's worse things to have on television than that.
I agree.
There's attractive people and things of that nature. I mean,
there's a level that you rise to. You're like, please get me out of here.
well, you are the sub in that relationship. There's no question.
So according to Nick, Fred hearts this show. Let's see if this is true, and you tell me.
Nicholas Jamali?
Nicholas said that, and with the post that he shared, Zach Braff is set to return for the ABC reboot of Scrubs.
Oh, I hate that show. I hate Zach Braff. It's far too manic.
You do?
Oh.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the work of Zach Braff?
Never
Do you
gave it a
enjoy the
second
film
thought.
Garden State and look at that as some kind of artistic
No,
endeavor?
I did not.
Do you
No.
like the soundtrack to Garden State as if that is something of relevance and something that people should listen to?
Hold on, I'm going to look
It's
it up.
all crap. Zach Braff he crowdfunded some piece of garbage movie too. He's in horrible commercials. Now I like his sidekick that was in Clueless because I like him in Clueless. And I like Clueless very much. I've seen that many, many times.
James Mercer.
As I like women and have a daughter, I have seen Clueless on several occasions.
I do like the Paul Simon song, The Only Living Boy in New York.
I don't like Paul Simon. I don't like any of this. I think it's awful. I can't imagine a group of men getting together and creating this. It's really offensive to me.
The Shins from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The hotbed of puss rock, as I like to call it. I just can't imagine, dudes, let's get together. Yeah, you like this? I like this. Let's get together and make a song.
As soon as they got signed, they moved to Portland, Oregon, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. Like when you're a kid and you get in a band, you plug in everything and start going as loud and fast as possible.
You don't like Paul Simon even when someone covers his song?
Sweet street burn. Well, on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on my way. Jerry, taking my time. I don't know where. Goodbye to Rosie, the queen of Corona. Seeing me and Jolie down by the schoolyard. Seeing me and hold on, down by the schoolyard. I'm a good singer. It's hard to do that.
That is evidence that the vessel of which the song is coming from is every bit as important as the writing itself, because that, of course, is magical.
Well, on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on my way.
I'm in a car in front of a restaurant with Nick.
With it raining hard on the roof.
Me and Julio.
Yeah, Julio.
I'm questioning his effort on that. that being
Nick
the
or
guy
from
Machine. No,
Yeah.
Nick. What's Nick going to do? Nick's driving all over the place to get Guy from Machine in the car.
What was there's another TV show I meant to ask you about, Fred.
Anything manic, I don't like. I don't like Community. I don't like Scrubs. I don't like Arrested Development.
Arrested Development.
I can't. I don't like it.
Okay, so
And people I like it, and I like the guys in it. Like I like David Cross because I like Mr. Show. Jason Bateman's fine. I don't dislike anyone. Will Arnett now I can't stand. But
well,
at
Will
the time,
Arnett and Jason Bateman on that podcast of theirs, they talk about it all the time. But to make it even more insufferable, when they refer to it as AD. And Will Arnett, with that voice, is, back on the second season of AD, I think you'll remember this one, JB.
You know how Sirius signed that show for all that money? it's done gangbusters for them. That you think radio's in trouble. Hachi Machi. Imagine launching a satellite into space,
man.
and now you got that on your plate.
I can't.
What a move by them. Ingenious. Everyone's going to pay a streaming service to hear that dumb podcast once a week. It has a life. Boy, oh boy, in 20 years, people will be talking about how great Smartless is. You know what? Because there's celebrities that will be, in 5 years, just as relevant as they are today, which is the guy from Will and Grace, who I couldn't name if you put a gun to my head. And you know what? They have a mystery guest.
Sean
and they interview him. And sure, there's literally a million places that this happens, but this one's the best one
because you pay for it.
Yeah, and they're C-level stars. It's one thing when you could get it for free, and it was on top of mind. But now that I have to buy a whole service for it to listen to in my car, that's what I'll do. Because why would I find people that can actually entertain for 4 hours live?
But to further, I guess, rail against this business model, isn't it still going to be available like on Apple Podcasts?
It doesn't even matter to me. You are a business because you made the move, the genius move of bringing Howard Stern and his audience in. Howard Stern at the time did a live show 5 days a week or 4 days a week or whatever it was that was new every day. It was in the same format every day. He was good at broadcasting. And now your model is to take people that have never broadcasted and can interviews and put that on your service. I told you my idea that would save that company is that if you made 10 to 15 channels, the New York channel, the Los Angeles channel, the Boston channel, and you hired the best personalities from those markets and you put them on that channel, you would win. There you go. I gave you the idea. Just like the guy had the idea, give AM stations to a bunch of 25-year-olds and go do whatever you want within the constraints of the law. Don't get me sued and don't get me arrested. Go. Those are your two ideas. I didn't come up with the second one, but I came up with the first one. AM radio's dead. Give it to the kids. Let them make something out of it. Make it cool. Make it cool. Make that the cool thing. Goodbye. That'll do it for us. Bye.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.